We are underserving these areas, so the bank is offering 100% purchase loans at 4.99% on a 30-year fixed. No points, no mortgage insurance, no gimmicks, just lower payments.
4.99% is awesome. What's a payment look like?
Yes, Bill. A payment on $200,000 at that APR is $1,072 a month for 360 months. A payment on $300,000 is at $1,608. These estimates do not include taxes and insurance. These loans are only for primary residences, and the loan amounts are capped at $300,000. Call me today. A number is 803-719-1005, or you can email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. All loans are subject to credit approval and property appraisal. First Palmetto Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. My NMLS number is 198432.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
The home of the national champion Gamecocks women's basketball team. Congrats, y'all.
A Cumulus media station.
It's Reaction Monday. Tell us all about it.
Sloppy, without a doubt, and particularly, really in all three phases. A lot to clean up, obviously.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local Honda motorcycle, ATV side-by-side superstore. Exit 70 up I-20. Turn by the Flying J. Online at carolinahonda.com.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach, the Game Network.
It's 3 o'clock. Happy Labor Day, y'all. Welcome aboard the Postgame Show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Yeah, we're here. It's live.
No days off, baby.
Not on tape delay. Maybe would have been more fun, as I told our buddy Joe Pollock, if I were, slow smoking some meats out back on the patio.
Doing the show while we were slow smoking some meats on the patio.
Oh, and I see. If you had said that ahead of time, we probably could have done that. I got room back there for us to set up the
There's
stuff.
a little room. Yeah, there's a little bit.
I could have done that. Why are you saying that now, man?
Because I'm hungry now. I wasn't hungry then. I am hungry now.
No guests today, it's except for you guys. And even though it may be a holiday and some of you are out doing whatever, call us up. We got a lot to talk about. Let's just jump right in. Listen, first and foremost, as Coach Beamer said, South Carolina won the football game. And we talked about that throughout the week. When you look at a spread like this and you think about certain projections, you have ideas in your head. We talked about the fact that Old Dominion has played some really good games against teams in South Carolina's neighborhood. And they did it again this weekend. And South Carolina did not – I thought the defense was good, certainly good enough, and they were. The offense was bad. I mean, it just was. It was bad. And you had 2 kicks blocked, too. That's a concern. So they won the football game. And, again, that absolutely 100% matters. But another thing that we talked about throughout the week and really throughout the summer was that while this game was one you had to get by, it was really going to start being about your next 2 opponents in conference play. You go to Kentucky to open SEC action on Saturday afternoon. You're about a 10-point dog now. And then LSU comes here. Will LSU be smarting a little bit? They're going to win this weekend. Who do they have? They have Nichols or Alcorn or
They do have Nichols State.
Nichols, okay. Yes. And they're going to win.
Not to be confused with Penny's State.
That's right. So, but what you did on Saturday was a lot about what I said all week too: cohesion and confidence, especially on offense. Didn't really think that I got either of those things when all was said and done. Did not see cohesion. Do not know that they built any confidence in themselves. Raheem Sanders would be an exception. There's no question of that. Listen, we knew Lenora Sellers could run the football. But it will not, in my opinion, be hard for opposing defenses to quickly make him less effective if he's going to continue to do that, especially in conference games or against a team like Clemson late in the season. And we'll talk about Clemson a little bit later on, too, obviously. He was 10 of 23. They'll force him to throw the football. It will not be difficult. And you've got a defensive-minded coach this coming weekend. You've got what I believe is an improved LSU defense in 2 weeks. And again, LSU's goals are all still in front of them despite what happened last night, because LSU did not lose a conference game last night. So they've still got everything in front of them in terms of winning the Southeastern Conference and being one of the top 4 teams that are seeded into the college football playoff. The next step in terms of Lenora Sellers and throwing the football is, who's he going to throw to? Because that was another thing. Deep wide receiver room, but we all were concerned about who was going to step up. Some of it was on them. Some of it was on him. Some of it was on play calls. All of it came together for a 10 of 23 performance through the air. Elijah's going to have some even further deep dive stats to tell you that it might not have been as good as 10 of 23. And that's a concern. I know Dowell wanted to spread the ball around a little. Let's find one of those guys to step up to emerge, to want to be the go-to guy. And there can still, listen, it's one game, so I'm not going to sit here and hang too much on it. But you'd like to have just seen it be a little better, right? Tight ends may need more targets, but they also have to block and be out on the field, and that was one of the things that Shane talked about. He didn't see enough from those guys in the intangibles and the things that they do without the football when they're not a part of the direct plan on that particular play. Again, Sanders was good, but he too, like Lenoris with his legs, can be neutralized rather quickly and force the Gamecock offense to throw the football. Now, when I say neutralized, I don't mean that he'll go from gaining 88 yards to gaining 8 yards. But, you know, the proverbial stack the box type thing will work until otherwise proven. That's what teams will do. Okay, keep on running because you can't throw. That's what they're going to say. Is that the way it's going to go down? The offensive line was good. It wasn't fantastic. You got a freshman starting. He's going to start again. We do have a new depth chart, by the way, with a couple of just minor adjustments. You're disappointed in Torricelli Simpkins for one big play there, but you don't want to hold that against him, like, and go, well, you're done. But that's bad because you know what the play is, and you got to be aware because you might have of 50 snaps, let's just say, 49 of it might be really good. But if the 50th is one where what you did was not pay attention and negate a touchdown, especially a trick play touchdown, it's a killer, man. It could be a killer, especially if you pull it out again in conference play. The defense was the savior for this team. Yeah, they gave up a couple of really big plays. The pass play early, ugh. And then the kid's touchdown was, 30-something yards?
On a 3rd and long.
Yeah. Those, and listen, other teams can big play you too, and they've seen those, despite how otherwise you were very good. 5 sacks for the defense, 8 tackles for loss for the defense, 4 forced fumbles, including the big one there right at the beginning of the ball game, 2 picks, including one in the end zone. If you haven't seen it yet, Dylan Stewart, Kyle Kennard were excellent and named the co-defensive lineman of the week in the Southeastern Conference. The DBs did struggle. Again, Smith got beat real bad. There's not a lot of depth back there, so you're dancing with who you brought at this point in time until you can work some other guys in. And Collier, I believe, has earned the starting nod on the other side opposite O.D. Fortune. But most of those issues are correctable. A lot of it is just paying attention. And to come back to the offense, perimeter blocking, things like that. Just be tougher. That's what Shane's going to say. It's what Sean's going to say. It's what Dowell's going to say. It's what Furry's going to say. Just be tougher. Be more aware. Again, special teams, Herrera, solid. 3 of 4. They did have to punt 5 times. Again, Kai Kroger showing his stuff as per usual. Pretty good day. Had to pass. Kid can throw, man. Kid can throw. Juju didn't have a phenomenal day, but showed a little shiftiness, and I think eventually, I like what he can do back there. And the fake should have worked. The fake should have worked. And they practiced it, and you just got to be aware. The fake should have worked. But Elijah, I don't know how many times in my career, 20-something, I suppose, have I come in here 20-something times and said, well, the biggest adjustments you can make are between week 1 and week 2. And they darn well better. You got to seriously study and apply what you learned this week very, very quickly. The fact that Saturday's game is so pivotal has not changed for either club. Kentucky won 31-0, and they had 20 minutes of their game shaved off because of bad weather. So they feel good about themselves in limited opportunity. How much worse would it have been for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles if that game had been played in a full 60 minutes instead of about 40? Don't know, but Kentucky clicked. Everybody pretty much clicked, it felt like, that was supposed to. Study, apply. You can get better. You can correct a lot of these things. And you did win the football game. But, man, as I said on Twitter, and I'm saying to you as I pass it off to you, this game left us with more questions than answers.
I always kind of hate these days, too, where the biggest discussion after a win in general, because wins are just hard to come by. As a whole, winning football games is not easy, regardless of who you play, because of all the preparation that goes into it. But you just can't feel great after watching that and watching the way the offense struggles. I mean, if I would have told you without watching the game that the only 2 touchdowns the offense scores are on drives of 2 and 6 yards, you would not feel good about it. Yeah. And then the very few drives you were able to get going and contain, you couldn't finish them off. You couldn't turn those into touchdowns. You settled for 4 field goals, made 3 of them against an Old Dominion defense that, while they present some challenges, that's going to be, like, if we're ranking all the defenses of the 12 teams you faced during the year, that's probably 10 at best. They're going to be significantly tougher defenses starting this next weekend at Kentucky, where they have 2 defensive linemen that can consume human beings. They are big men who run over other large men. And while the offensive line, I think, played well for the most part, there are a few plays where a blitz was failed to be picked up, and it leaves you going, "Oh my God!" Well, that's a drive killer, and they were. But for the most part, they graded out pretty well, and Lenore Sellers had a lot of time to make passes. He had pretty clean pockets for the most part. It's very discouraging from all the stuff we've heard about Lenoris to come out and struggle like that, because he struggled. I mean, we're going to get into the numbers later. I'm not going to bog it down right now, but I will throw some out here in other segments. The numbers, make it sound worse than what it is. I mean, it was tough. Some of the throws he missed were throws you got to make.
Yeah.
And you can tell even after the game when he talked about what led to some of the struggles. A lot of it is cohesion with receivers. That's supposed to be what 15, 16 practices leading up to this game are for. And not having that cohesion, it's not going to be what it is in November. I totally understand that. But it has to look better than what it did on Saturday, or you are in for a long, long, long season. And the fact that, you have old players and still aren't able to get any type of cohesion in that passing game is very troubling and very concerning. And not to say Lenoris can't turn it around. I think he can. But the floor looks really low right now. Yeah. I mean, I dare I say cellar. I mean, you are in the cellar here in terms of what the offense is. It can't get much worse in terms of the passing game. Defensively, amazing. I think that was as what you imagined going into the season. Dylan Stewart, had, I believe, the highest Pro Football Focus grade of any defensive player in the country in his debut.
Yeah, as a true freshman.
That kid's going to be a star. He'll be when I say going to be a star, that's not like far out in the future projection.
Right.
We'll consider him a star in the next few weeks.
Yes.
He's that good.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, you only beat Old Dominion because your defense forced 2 turnovers deep inside Monarch territory. Think about that. Uh-huh. If they don't force those fumbles, you do not win.
Right.
That is troubling.
It is. And what do you do about it? Again, study, apply. All right, we've set the table from our perspective. Let's hear from you. Phones, text line, 803-404-6100. We got a couple of phone calls lined up. Get to you on the other side. And again, hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line. You can hit us on Twitter as well, jphillips1075, E_Campbell3, or simply 1075 the game, if you'd rather do it that way on Twitter. Lots to do as we react to the Gamecocks and much more on the first full weekend of college football. This is the Postgame Show.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV. 107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Fall is a great time for you to get into Cato's Power Equipment for the latest in everything you need to keep the yard looking good all year round. But this time of year is especially important because the grass is still growing well into the fall, but the leaves are also coming down. So you got to keep the yard looking good by keeping the grass cut low and by keeping the straw and leaves off of it all at the same time. And with the latest from Steel, you can get some really great savings right now when you stop into Cato's, whether it's chainsaws, whether it's blowers, especially a backpack blower. Save $50 on those right now. Get in and see. You do it for a living. Time to upgrade the equipment or make sure that it is in tip-top shape because you will be doing a lot of yard clearing here in the coming weeks. Whether you cut your own backyard or you do it for a living, Cato's has excellent sales, service, and advice. Love what they've done for me in my yard. I know you will too. Family owned and operated since 1983. See Ben, Matt, and the whole crew. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. Always online at catospowerequipment.com.
Skip the oil frying with air. Like a Bosch. Crispy like the county fair. Like a Bosch. Cook like a Bosch.
Go inside the Nest on Gadsden Street in the Vista to find out how you can cook like a Bosch.
From lazy days and spontaneous adventures to revving up and reconnecting, you can almost feel the excitement building, the road ahead, and a whole new season of possibilities. It's back to cool time right now at Love Chevy with amazing savings on a lot chock full of brand new Tahoes, Suburbans, and the totally redesigned Chevy Traverse. A bolder exterior design, turbocharged V6, best-in-class cargo area, plenty of space for the team and the tailgate. Speaking of football, every day is game day at Love Chevy, where it's all about the fundamentals, honesty, integrity, and straight talk. No ridiculous add-on stickers like the other guys. And who could forget about Love Chevy's $1,000 low price guarantee? Get back to cool today at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
All-American Heating and Air's proud owners, Gene and Debbie Royer.
Oh, there's many companies that don't do background checks. It's sad to say.
A background check is performed on every employee that works for All-American.
We want to make sure that we're sending a safe person into your home and you can feel safe.
Trust All-American's family to help your family.
Check my prices, check their prices, check my word to their word.
We're a good first opinion or second opinion.
When you need us, we're there. All-American Heating and Air.
AllAmericanHeatingandAir.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace.
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at Metamucil.com.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence. It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
So I just try not to show it really. because you still got to lead the team. You got to go to the next drive no matter what happens. Like, I know I fumbled. Still got to go to the next drive and keep pushing through. So, I mean, you can't let it get to you. You always got to have the next play mentality.
There you go. That's Lenora Sellers. It's his team. There's no doubt about that. And, can't let those mistakes kind of creep into your head on a regular basis. You got to try to find a way to flush it and move on. And that's certainly what South Carolina will do. As a reminder, we will hear from Coach Beamer tomorrow live at 1 o'clock. Shane said the next time we'll put any injury reports out will be for the official injury report. Again, Carolina and Kentucky, the first that'll be doing that starting on Wednesday. And then we'll have more from Shane Thursday night during Carolina calls. 803-404-6100. Let's get into what you guys think of what you saw on Saturday afternoon/night after the weather delay.
The distant lightning delay.
John will bat lead off on this Monday. Good afternoon, sir. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you, fellas. I guess the word of the day that I have had since Saturday is concern. Obviously, you go into week one with a new starting quarterback and a lot of a new roster, and mental mistakes are going to happen. That is not avoidable, but at the same time, you've got to look a lot better than that on offense. I thought defensively we played probably about as well on opening day as I've seen since maybe 2012 when we went up to Nashville and just really kind of wreaked havoc on Vanderbilt. But, it being Old Dominion, the concern there is what if it was a game like last year against North Carolina? Or what if it was against Vanderbilt, who, by the way, beat Virginia Tech the other day?
And looked good doing it.
Yeah, no kidding. This is, again, concerning just because you don't get an easy stretch here. You've got Saturday coming. You got to go to Lexington, and then you got to turn right around and get ready for LSU at noon. This is a pivotal moment. This is year 4 for Shane. I'm not ready to put him on the hot seat yet. I'd like to, have him lose a game before I put him on the hot seat this season.
Fair take.
But, yeah, no kidding. But, again, like you said, Jay, you make your biggest growth between week 1 and week 2. There's never been more of a need for that to happen. I kind of joked the other night that there's an old saying that there's such thing as a bad loss. Well, this university or a bad win, this university keeps trying to have one or invent one, it seems, on an annual basis almost. If there is a bad win, that was it. But, again, you'd rather have this happen in week 1 than in week 8. I think that this is correctable. Some of the passes that were bad were just sailed or sometimes just thrown into the ground. That can get corrected. A tweak here or there in the offensive line, as we saw many a year in the Spurrier era, can fix a lot of problems. I liked what I saw from Rocket Sanders. I think if they get just a few things here or there corrected with the wide receivers, a few drops here and there, that can get corrected too. I think this can still be a very good season.
It can, John, and thanks as always, buddy. Listen, it can. And look, very good is going to be measured a little more subjectively. I grant you that. This is a program, in my opinion, that should always make a bowl game these days. So there's that to start with. If that's any kind of baseline, quite honestly, as most of you know, I set that bar a little bit higher. But first things first, you got to get there. And yes, I think the vast majority of what you saw that concerns you Saturday is correctable. A lot of it might be. Look, it's going to be all of the above when I say these things. It was Lenoris's first game as a starter. Old Dominion doesn't suck, and they're used to being in games like this. They're used to being pesky. I know that's not enough for some of you. So what, Jay? We were 21-point favorites. We're supposed to. Okay, that's not a prediction. Again, that's a number designed to part you with your money. The FPI gave Carolina about an 87% chance to win the game. They won the game. They won the game ugly. They did. And, John, I know what you mean. I know you were kind of kidding. Unfortunately, there will never be anything that is called a bad win. Okay? Because they're all good. I don't care how you get them. I know you want to qualify wins, and I'm here for. I get it.
It does beat the hell out of the alternative.
But yeah, the only thing that's bad is losing. Winning is good in sports. That's what you're there to do. You're there to win. So again, I know John was kidding when he said that, and I kind of like where he's going. They're trying to give us one, but Jacksonville State last year, man.
Yeah.
that was not good. But it
wasn't comfortable.
But you won the game. So, and Saturday night, you won the game. So, again, Rocket was good. The receiving core, whether it's tight ends or wide receivers, that's
it's the passing game as a whole.
The passing game,
all on Lenoris. Lenoris wasn't great.
Heavy concern.
He
for me.
He had a really tough game.
Yeah.
The receivers had just as bad, if not worse, of games.
But heavy concern there. I grant you that. We talked a lot about it. So, John, thank you. Let's get right back into it. Keith is up next. Hey, Keith, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm going to take a little different approach on it than John. Yes, a win's a win, but it's really alarming. It almost looked like on offense we're moving in slow motion. I get first game. I get a lot of different receivers, but I just thought the overall game plan package, it's pitiful. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. It reminded me of flag football in college. But, it's a win. But, man, you go back and watch it again, kickoff coverage, punt coverage. There were so many mistakes. And those are the type things that can be corrected. I get that. But make no mistake about it. I watched Kentucky Saturday night. I don't know if I don't know if I'm that optimistic after what I saw and what I heard about an offensive line. I wasn't impressed at all. But, hey, I'll still be watching next week. Enjoy y'all's show. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it. I like what the defense did to maybe match up with Kentucky. Elijah made a point earlier. Kentucky oftentimes is Mark Stoops is very defensive minded. Oftentimes, I think coaches, I don't want to say not to lose. I've used that term. I often thought Muschamp coached not to lose. I wouldn't.
Not aggressive. How about that?
But he relies on the trenches and on defense, and he does making you uncomfortable. But it also at times may make his own team and fans uncomfortable. I expect a little bit of that. I'm looking here. The over-under is 45.5. As it stands right now, I'd probably go under were someone that wanted to lose money. But, and the Carolina's a 9.5.
That's your problem. You're betting not to lose instead of betting to win. That's your issue.
That's why I just don't.
You are Mark Stoops.
I just do not do it. Again, the pass game. That what needs to be done there, and I think Keith, you raise a good point. I know our good friend David Cloninger had this in one of his reports about the game, and that is the play calling. Look, Dowell, I think again, you got a lot of new moving parts. Even if you've been using them in practice, how much are you trying to get into a rhythm? How much are you trying to find that guy? How much of it was simply just calling a play? I don't want to say regardless of personnel, but let's just get to the next one. Dowell said they weren't sure how many they were going to script. I don't care about all that really. It's not all about play calling because there were several plays that were simply very poorly executed. And you can have the world's best play call in terms of what you think you can scheme up against the defense. But if your players do it wrong, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And so I think some of that is there too. That's why I said it's all of the above. It's Lenoris's first game. It's getting used to a bunch of new receivers. It's, a couple of freshmen out there. I don't think youth, other than with the quarterback, is going to be too much of a reason/excuse. Because this team did get older and more veteran.
Yeah.
But it's got to, again, come back around to what I said. There's got to be cohesion. Mm-hmm. And even if it's veteran, that's, the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. The portal also finds a way sometimes, I think, to lengthen the preseason, if you will, into the regular season now because you just don't know each other. And this sport doesn't allow you the opportunity to play someone else. Again, something Shane lamented. And we may hear other coaches. Here in this portal era, Elijah, we may have more coaches get together at their annual meeting and go, you know, we could really use an actual game to see what we're doing because we have so many new moving parts. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And I'm not going to say, hey, if Carolina had an August preseason game against, whoever, they'd have won by 28.
No.
Because I'm not saying that either.
Because how much can change in the span of a week? If you had done that, last week, how much actually changes? You're not doing that and then turning into 2019 LSU overnight.
No.
It's not going to happen that way. But there's still some things that you're just going to have to do to at least get a little bit better. Right?
Yes.
Nothing you saw convinces you there'll be a top half offense in the SEC.
Not yet. No, I didn't. Again, the shining spot was Rocket Sanders.
Yes.
And again,
he looked good.
I'm not saying this about him. I'm saying this about how they can be schemed against, but it won't take much for an opponent to go, okay, well, there's what they can do. So let's take that away and then see what else happens. And my gut already tells me here that's exactly what Kentucky is already working on when it comes to defending the South Carolina offense. Gamecock Larry's on the line. We'll get to him on the other side of the break because I know he'll tell us everything is going to be all right. We might need a little dose of positivity. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Ever been on this date?
You're a good-looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine.
And thought, man, I'd rather be listening to the game right now.
Welcome in to the afternoon show. Alongside Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the game app. Sure, you may no longer be with that person anymore, but you'll never be without the game again.
Oh, a lot of you aren't feeling great today, but it may not be because of the way your team played over the weekend if they didn't do what you wanted to. It may just be because you're getting a little bit older and you're wondering why you just feel off. Do not wait for it to change or go away. Do yourself and the ones around you a favor. See Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic. You'll get a one-on-one consultation that'll get to the root of the issues and get you back to feeling like you used to, like you want to. No such thing as one-size-fits-all treatments at the Men's Clinic. Don't be the guy that thinks you can tough it out or say, well, my granddad and my uncles and my dad always toughed it out. I will too. No, don't be that guy. Get to feeling better when you see Dan Balknight and his team. They're experts in healthcare for men, dedicated to making you feel like you want to. 803-875-MENS is the phone number to set up a free consultation and learn more right now at themensclinicsc.com.
Firehouse Subs, Hook and Ladder jingle, take one.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin slice.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast bread, mustard, mayo, perfect spread, lettuce, green, and onion. The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
Don't let the season fool you. It's pool time in the Midlands. Hi, I'm Paul Romanstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Loans. We have the experts in custom pool design and installation. The summer months might be flying away, but in the Midlands, the heat is here to stay. Dive into comfort and beat the heat all year round. Call Midlands Landscape today and make your dream pool a reality. MidlandsLandscape.com.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
From lazy days and spontaneous adventures to revving up and reconnecting, you can almost feel the excitement building, the road ahead, and a whole new season of possibilities. It's back to cool time right now at Love Chevy with amazing savings on a lot chock full of brand new Tahoes, Suburbans, and the totally redesigned Chevy Traverse. A bolder exterior design, turbocharged V6, best-in-class cargo area, plenty plenty of space for the team and the tailgate. Speaking of football, every day is game day at Love Chevy, where it's all about the fundamentals, honesty, integrity, and straight talk. No ridiculous add-on stickers like the other guys. And who could forget about Love Chevy's $1,000 low price guarantee? Get back to cool today at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy. Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hosteller Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast.
You're also saying the record's going to go down.
I'm saying the record's going down anyway. The guy.
I don't think you're off on this at all. Like, you're spot on here. I don't think this is an overreaction because we have no idea what we're reacting to.
Come react or overreact with us.
How would you say that? An overreaction, sir. Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen. It's game over.
Over, man.
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On the Game Network.
We continue to react to Carolina's 23-19 victory over Old Dominion. I know if you're maybe tuning in and didn't see the game or might be an interested third-party observer, you're like, man, did that team lose? They won.
Sometimes wins can feel like losses.
But this one may be one of those. Again, our good friend John saying,
fact.
yeah, this program is trying to find a bad win, but they never will. Never will.
That is the one thing I do appreciate about Shane the most. I know some people rip on it or whatever, but he's talking about, our players are in that locker room celebrating as they should. Because winning football games is hard.
They won the game.
Yeah, I will say winning games is hard because of all the preparation that goes into doing it. The hard part of winning football games sometimes isn't on the field on game day. It's the preparation leading up to it. You should enjoy victories no matter how little or ugly because life is simply too short.
Before we get to Gamecock Larry, our buddy David hits us on the Twitters. He says the concerning thing was running Sellers 22 times. That doesn't put a lot of confidence in the passing game. I agree. I don't think that they planned for Lenoris to run 22 times. Elijah and I actually were talking about this right before the show. I don't know for sure. I don't know that Shane wants to tell us or Dowell on Wednesday. I probably wouldn't, to be honest with you. Because, again, it may let too much knowledge in on where your original game plan may have been. And you do need to keep those things close to the vest. My gut would say that they probably wanted to run Lenoris on purpose 12 times, maybe up to 15.
Because not all 22 rushes were designed rushes.
No, there's no doubt. And how many of them were plays that could have been there, and maybe he was just like, well, first read, I got to go. And he's just so accustomed to that. Mm-hmm. And those are the habits that have to be broken.
That's one thing you can get away with in high school a lot, too, when you're bigger, faster, stronger than everybody on the field, right? You can afford to not put the ball in harm's way because if you don't have the first read, you're just faster than everybody around you.
Better than you.
You're going to use those wheels, and you're going to fly up and down that football field and get whatever you want on offense. One of the games that I watched this weekend, I went back and watched, was Alabama, Western Kentucky. Jalen Milroe had a lot of, a couple years ago that, first read, right, take off and run, because Jalen Milroe is so athletic and he's strong and he's got everything you want, in a mobile quarterback. There was one play that I watched late in the first half of that game where they showed like the all-22 angle, and you can see his head move 2 or 3 times going through progressions, taking advantage of the clean pocket, and instead of bailing, he fires a bleeping dart down the field and hits a receiver for like a 25-yard gain after they finally got open. There was that patience. Now, for Jalen Milroe, that's taken 3 years, right? And one thing I think he got better at last year was ultimately not just defaulting to the wheels. I think Lenoris, once he gets to that point, we're going to see some improvement. But it did feel like there was some bailing out of clean pockets. It did feel like there was a multitude of factors that led to 22 rushing attempts. That being said, that's not sustainable over a 12-game season in college football, specifically when 8 of those are playing in the SEC. That is a really good way to not just make yourself predictable, but also put your quarterback in harm's way. I think that's another obstacle that this coaching staff is going to have to figure out between now and the game on Saturday. You do not want Lenoris Sellers carrying the ball 25 times against that Kentucky defense. I mean, more than 10? Sure, because he is really good with his legs. The 2 or 3 drives that they actually were able to sustain a little bit and get points out of, granted, field goals, but field goals are also points. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. All facts. That's no true. Printer. That's true. Jay Phillips. Yeah. But ultimately, it's not sustainable over the course of the entire season. And that is what can be problematic when you just look at the box score and you see, oh, wow, your quarterback carried the ball 22 times.
Let's get a boost.
We need it.
Let's see what Gamecock Larry has to say after a 1-0 start. Larry, happy Labor Day, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. But about 7 of those runs by the quarterback was not called. I mean, he ran that on his own. He had time to throw that ball to somebody, but he decided to run. He had the jitters. But we're going to see a complete different offense next week. Because if he go out there and start like they did this week, he will not be in there very long. And now let me get down to what I was going to say. Jay, Elijah, Gamecock Nation. An ugly win is better than a pretty loss.
Preach.
We're 1 down, 11 to go. I'll say 12-0 in 2024. I'm going to stick to that story. That's the story. I'm going to stick to it. Now, you're going to see a complete offense next week. Completely different. We didn't show Kentucky nothing. Shane got it under control. Gamecock Nation, don't worry. Only 1 game down. We supposed to win. We did win. But we almost did lose, too, and it had me worried. But don't worry anymore. We will go at least 200 yards in the air, 150 on the ground next week, and maybe more. We're going to win this game. 12-0 in 2024. 1 down, 11 to go. All
right.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it until we lose one.
I love it. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir.
Love it.
Thank you, sir. He raises, I mean, again, what he started with. No such thing, as a bad loss.
Yeah, an ugly win
as a bad win. Sorry.
Than a pretty loss.
Yeah. No such thing as a bad win.
I tattoo that on my chest.
Is there some truth? And again, these are things we have to speculate upon. Is there some truth in a very simplified offensive game plan? Now, look, if you can't execute the very simplified offensive game plan, is there really a reason to be super optimistic about opening things up a little bit and not showing Kentucky anything? That's sort of a little catch-22 in there. I like Larry's logic, and rationale, and I think Gamecock fans would like to believe he's onto something there, and he may well be.
He could,
but Lenoris is going to have to clean up the little stuff. And, I don't mean this to say that, like, you got headhunters on the other side, right? But if you're going to leave yourself exposed, despite how large of a young man you may be, those dudes on Kentucky, somebody's going to say, hey, he's out there. Go get him.
Yeah. I mean, especially
and y'all know what I mean.
Field. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're Kentucky, you want to discourage him from using his legs.
Yes.
What makes Lenore Sellers tough for defenses coming into this year is a thought that he can use his legs in a dual threat manner and be able to move the ball that way. A dual threat quarterback, so very hard to game plan against. And if you're a defense, you want to discourage them from doing that. You want him to sit back there and try to beat you with his arm because he knows what might happen when you scramble. That's why it's so imperative for quarterbacks to learn the art of sliding, right? To not have those hits, so maybe you can be a little more fearless late in the game when you need to be. But Kentucky is going to hone in on, hey, if he gets out in the open field, popping him once or twice really good could mentally discourage somebody from tucking and running when that opportunity might arise.
803-404-6100 phone line, Firehouse Subs text line. Back into your calls on the other side. It's the Postgame Show.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
It's back! The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com and register. The pot starts at $100. Every week it increases $100 if Carolina doesn't score a special teams touchdown. But if the Gamecocks do score a special teams touchdown, you could win the pool. Again, just go to 1075thegame.com and register. It's the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest from 1075 The Game.
This is Jonathan Peterlin with the Sports Minute, sponsored by Angie. Angie makes it easier than ever to get your home projects done well. Get started at Angie.com. Did your excitement for college football return? A 12-team playoff. The ACC has every coast represented. Players come and go like they bought an all-day pass at an amusement park. The sport is hardly recognizable. I was curious how I would feel once I saw games in action, though, and I'm all right with sports evolving. But college football might have shot itself in the foot with all these changes. I'm Jonathan Peterlin.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The only thing more satisfying than a crisp fall day is a crisp fall day inside your cozy, spotless home. Right now, shop Labor Day savings on select cleaning essentials and exclusive brands from the Home Depot. Plus, with fast free delivery, you don't have to worry about running out of your favorite cleaners, paper products, trash bags, and more. The Home Depot has everything you need to get ready for a fall refresh. Get your home crisp, clean, and ready for the season with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on over 2 million items subject to availability.
Progressive presents Renters MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Some people think Taco Bell is only for late night. But if that was the case, it wouldn't be open all day. That'd be horrible management. It's also for daytime, which is why Taco Bell's introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu. With new Cantina Chicken tacos, burrito, and quesadilla, with seasoned slow roasted chicken, and even a new avocado verde salsa packet. You should try it today. Emphasizing that word so you don't forget that it's not just for late night.
Introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu, Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for participation with spares.
All right, 803-404-6100
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
Welcome back in. It's the Postgame Show on this Monday. Happy Labor Day to all of you. This is the time when they tell us that that fall begins. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, in some places.
This week looks really good here. Now I think it's going to rain, but we got like 80s and even, did I see like highs only in the 70s later this week?
Now you're talking dirty, Jay Phillips.
Yeah, but that also, listen, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, but that's not, it's, for those of you, especially say maybe you are a freshman at Carolina, or
new
maybe new to the area, maybe those of you who are serving our nation at Fort Jackson, and you've just come in to start basic. It's going to get in the 90s again.
Yeah. So the moral of the story here is to just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have learned that lesson the hard way.
Just wait till October.
I'll feel it dip below 80.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, now it's time for the fall scented candles.
Last week when it was like 62 in the morning and it wasn't humid.
Chef's kiss. That's like beautiful.
Hello. And then yesterday morning I walked out. I swear it was already like 82 and it wasn't even 8 o'clock. It probably wasn't, but I was like, oh my God. Let's see what Justin has to say next here as we talk Gamecock football on this Labor Day Monday. Hey, Justin, how are you, buddy?
How you doing, guys?
Good, man.
Hey, Dennis, I was concerned about Suggs, but he's going to get better. But, man, that's the question about Don Logan's play call. It has to be good last year edition, but it's got to get fixed, guys.
Yeah, it does. I agree. And as I say, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Dowell can't call a play. What the hell's he doing? I'm not that guy.
No.
I do think a lot of this, again, is just because of what's new and different. We were told, and I get it, like, hey, the offense doesn't fundamentally change. And I get that in terms of how you line guys up, et cetera, and in terms of the verbiage you use and the plays you want to run. I get all of that. I do. But it does change. It is altered because you do have a dual threat quarterback now. The balance in terms of how to utilize that properly is something that's still going to be a work in progress. And again, you don't have a lot of time.
Or maximizing it. And that's really the whole goal.
And again, look, how much do you use the tight ends this weekend? Do you need to use them more? What can you do to keep the defense off balance? Like I said, I don't look at it and say it was, and I know you didn't either, Justin, it's not all about the play calling. I know a lot of you have been critical of it, and there were things to be critical of. But like I say, they didn't plan to run Lenoris 22 times. How many? Not sure. Again, I'd say right around half of that was probably by design. And it could be a couple more. Could be a couple less.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did Lenoris I don't want to say that did Lenoris panic, because I don't think he was panicking, but it's like, well, there's 1, 2. All right, I see some space, and he made it happen.
Or it goes to a default because running is part of his comfort zone.
Right.
A quarterback has their comfort zone. Sometimes it is staying in the pocket, and sometimes that can bite you in the rear when it is time to bail out of that pocket and run because nobody's open. The same can be applied to other types of quarterbacks who are really good with their legs. Lenoris obviously trusts his legs, as he should, because the dude's got wheels. So I totally understand that. I think it's instead of panicking, I wouldn't accuse him of panicking. I just accuse it to going to his comfort zone and something that he's used as a default in his career.
I think we had this come up a little bit earlier when it comes to I think Larry, when Gamecock Larry said it. Shane and Dowell maybe didn't open up the whole playbook, and they certainly didn't open up the whole playbook. But like I said, if you've got a simplified game plan, and that's my word, not theirs, not Larry's, that you didn't execute well. It does make it difficult to open it up even further. If anything, and this is me talking now, I would rather see Lenoris and the guys around him continue to get more comfortable with the plays that were called on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Now, can Dowell reorganize that in terms of what he calls when? yeah. But until you've got that one down, I wouldn't. And again, I don't know what they'll do, and they won't tell us. They shouldn't tell us. They're not going to tell us. But I wouldn't try to add too much more to the plate at this point. Go get better at what you were supposed to do on Saturday, because Kentucky's going to make it more difficult for you.
There are some numbers here that might actually pay credence to what Larry said on the phone, what Gamecock Larry said when he said that, they're playing a lot to their chest. They're not giving away much in the Old Dominion game, because when we looked at this roster at the beginning of the offseason, we said there's going to be a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of play action, a lot of screens, a lot of short game, just based off of the players you have on the roster, right? Just the skill set of the receivers you brought in, and having a redshirt freshman quarterback who is starting a season for the first time in his collegiate career. We didn't see a lot of any of that. I saw plenty of 12 personnel, made sure to be cognizant of that when watching this game. But according to Pro Football Focus, Jay Phillips, only 26.7% of the pass attempts were play action.
Okay.
And in terms of screens, according to Pro Football Focus, again, only 10% of those passes were screens. So we had 10% of passes screens, 26.7 on play action. This is an offense that's going to run the ball really well. Rocket Sanders ran the ball really well. Lenoris ran the ball well whenever he had to bail out. I think when you take away the sack yardage and the kneel downs, he gets over 100 yards, which is a positive. Mm-hmm. That's great for your run game. You ran the ball pretty well. That's going to set up play action later on in the season. I'd be really stunned if we see more games where only 1 out of every 4 plays or pass plays are play action and 1 out of every 10 passes are screens. I think that will change the more the season goes along.
Yeah, Lenoris lost 34 yards on those 4 sacks. I say Lenoris did. And again, I don't like that coming off his rush total, but that's the way college football gets it done. More on the Gamecocks, the Georgia-Clemson game. What's wrong in Gainesville? All that coming up in hour 2.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
No such thing as an ugly win being better than a pretty loss, because it's a results-based business in football. Weight loss journeys are results-based businesses too. I can do a program and really like how it functions, but if I'm not getting the results I want, I'm not going to stick with it. I can tell you now, my friends over at Columbia Secret for Weight Loss did wonders for me in terms of getting the results that I started the program for. Paul, Grant, and Shaylin did a fantastic job of helping me lose my weight loss goal here early in 2024, and they've done the same for a lot of different people throughout the Midlands, and they've been doing it for a little over a year now. It's September, so now they've been in this market for not just a year, but a year and a month. But to help celebrate that, they're hooking you up with a buy one, get one plan to do this weight loss journey with a loved one. That sounds good? Give them a call, 803-824-4210. Again, 803-824-4210 for Columbia Secret for Weight Loss. Results may vary.
From lazy days and spontaneous adventures to revving up and reconnecting, you can almost feel the excitement building, the road ahead, and a whole new season of possibilities. It's back to cool time right now at Love Chevy, with amazing savings on a lot chock full of brand new Tahoes, Suburbans, and the totally redesigned Chevy Traverse. A bolder exterior design, turbocharged V6, best-in-class cargo area, plenty of space for the team and the tailgate. Speaking of football, every day is game day at Love Chevy, where it's all about the fundamentals, honesty, integrity, and straight talk. No ridiculous add-on stickers like the other guys. And who could forget about Love Chevy's $1,000 low price guarantee? Get back to cool today at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. selection.
Back for a limited time only, it's Firehouse Subs Barbecue Cuban Sub featuring slow-smoked pulled pork, honey ham, melted Swiss, golden mustard barbecue sauce, chipotle slaw, and spicy pickle chips, all on a toasted sub roll. It's Southern roots with a Cuban twist. Try the Barbecue Cuban Sub at Firehouse Subs today. They make their subs differently because their subs can make a difference every day. At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide much-needed life-saving equipment to first responders across the country. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
Hunting season is here, and that means it's ATV season at Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Honda Recons, Rangers, Foremans, and Rubicons are in stock and ready to ride. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, manual, automatic, and all new colors. We've got them, and you can shop them all right on our showroom floor. Don't forget to ask about current finance and service specials. Visit Carolina Honda Powerhouse in Columbia. Just take exit 70 off I-20 and turn by the Flying J, or visit carolinahonda.com. Honda recommends utility ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all riders take a training course.
If you're seeing dust on your baseboards, vents, and ducts, or maybe you're having to swap out that air filter a little more frequently than you used to, you need to do what I did. It's time to call the experts at Zerust Air Duct Cleaning. All you have to do is mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game to get $50 off your next air duct service. Use code AIR50 at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
WNKT FM Eastover, Columbia.
Congrats to the Gamecocks women on another national championship.
A Cumulus media station.
It's Reaction Monday. Tell us all about it.
As ugly as it looked at times, and with some of the adversity we dealt with and some of the situations we put ourselves in, I thought we responded.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local Honda motorcycle, ATV, side-by-side superstore. Exit 70 up I-20. Turn by the Flying J. Online at carolinahonda.com.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach, the Game Network.
4 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Happy Labor Day. We're working. Hope you are happy wherever you might be, whether you're laboring or enjoying a day off, or if you're like Bill Gunner and doing a little bit of both. You think Bill is listening to us right now on his boat on Lake Murray?
I would like to think so. I want to tell myself that he is listening to us because he is our friend and he loves us. But
he's not. He's having a nap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Works early.
Yeah.
Works early.
He'd still be having a nap.
But take the nap. Yeah.
He's old.
Big nap guy myself.
I don't like naps. I wish I did. And I do every once in a while, like just need one. But I know a lot of people are like, I'm looking forward to just taking a nap. I'm like, why don't you just sleep longer? But I just like to. I'm not much of a sitter. I can't just. I'm not good with.
I'm a great sitter.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah,
a lot of people are
elite. Great sleeper. I mean, I don't fall asleep for 8 hours a night, Jay. I die for 8 hours basically and get resurrected.
No, my wife's an all-star when it comes to taking a nap.
I love it.
She's good at it.
Love it. Nothing makes me feel more alive, ironically enough.
I'm not like yesterday, as an example. And I don't want anybody to go like, oh, isn't he nice? Yesterday was our oldest's 25th birthday, which means we've been parents for 25 years. And I know exactly what time our oldest was born when she was born on September 1st. It was 2:38 p.m. So I was doing a couple things around the house. I think I had golf on the television, and there wasn't any football on yet. I had some soccer on as well. And I looked. And so I walk into the den, and I was just going to tell my wife. I wasn't like, nothing sappy. I was just going to go like, hey, happy official 25th, parent anniversary, mom anniversary.
Halfback ISO type play on 3rd and 1. Now, you're not getting too creative, not getting too cute, but you're here to get the message across and do the results.
She was asleep. She was having a nap. I was like, well.
That's what I call celebrating that anniversary with a nap.
I was like, well, there you tried to be nice. And so at 4:15, I walked back in there. I was like, man, she's like, yeah, I had a little nap. So you had a long nap because I came in here at 2:38 and you were out.
And now you can't prove it. You can't prove that you went in there.
No, my daughter was in there. One of my other
okay, so
daughters,
she can
not
attest.
the oldest one, but my 19-year-old was in there. She came home for the Labor Day weekend because she didn't go to the game in Atlanta. My 19-year-old goes to Georgia, no, she said even student tickets were like $200, and there were hardly any of them. And I was like, oh, yeah, glad you didn't do that.
The good news for her is that game definitely could have been an email. That game definitely could have been an email.
Right? We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. But anyway, whatever you may be doing today, napping, not napping, boating, not boating.
Or both.
Again, enjoying some smoked meats.
All three.
Things like that. Happy Labor Day, and appreciate you being with us. 803-404-6100. Let's get to Bob up next on the phone lines as we discuss Carolina's 23-19 victory over the Monarchs of Old Dominion. Hey, Bob.
Hey, guys. Happy Labor Day.
Right back.
Hey,
Labor Day.
This may be more of looking ahead than reacting to Saturday, but curious, and I don't know, we're not close enough to know what the separation is between Lenoris and Robbie Ashford, but Ashford's got SEC starting experience, major university. He's been, in the fire, in the battle. Is there a way that potentially they could have used him Saturday, or potentially coming up this weekend, Ashford that is, to maybe take some of the pressure off of Sellers, slow the game down a little bit for him, allow him to, a series or two to kind of see what's going on and make the adjustments from the sideline versus at the line of scrimmage. So I'm just curious what y'all think about that, because I know Shane said there'd be a potential to see him this year. I'm just, why they didn't use him is kind of perplexing to me.
I thank you, man. And again, happy Labor Day. Appreciate you listening. Elijah and I, threw out that question to each other and to you guys. I forget. I think it was maybe last Wednesday or Thursday. Like, do we see Robbie Ashford even in the first half, like on purpose? Mm-hmm. Just and I look. In theory, Bob, I like the idea. I know exactly what you mean. Give a young guy a chance. Now, look, his coach, if you will, not his head coach, but his quarterback's coach is the offensive coordinator and play caller and is up in the booth. So, Lenoris could maybe you can send Mike Shula down to the field, and I don't know where Mike was on Saturday. I don't know if he's upstairs or not. To just talk about those things. I would imagine that's a real fine line, and not just specifically here at Carolina, but for any young quarterback and his coaching staff on like, well, hey, we're not pulling you for a series because you're not performing well enough. We're going to go over a couple of things. But we do have the luxury of someone that's your backup, your substitute, that has, as Bob pointed out, and we all know, has played in the Southeastern Conference, and he's played for Oregon. So he's been in two very big programs that expect to win every game they play. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know what the thinking was. I don't know if that was ever part of the plan. Again, we talked about this. Hey, you might like to clear the bench, but you might not have a chance to clear the bench. And in this case, I would tell you that South Carolina didn't. I think he also raises a good point, Elijah. What is the separation? I don't know. Lenoris won the job. Mm-hmm. It didn't like, hey, Robbie, listen, you have zero chance to come in here and win this job. Just want you to know that in advance. That's not at all what the conversation was. Lenoris won the job. Shane's not in a position right now to
not play the best player in that room.
Yeah. So might we see him this weekend? Might.
Yeah.
But I think the plausibility for sure, Bob, of what you described is there. The probability could be something different.
Yeah. And if I'm Dow Loggins or I'm Shane Beamer, I'm definitely wanting to use him for a few plays, especially because, what's the same shared skill set that Robbie and Lenoris share?
Running.
They can run. They are really good with their legs, and they make defenses out of position by their ability to scramble, for whether it be designed runs or defaulting if no receiver's open. I think there's a few times in a game, too, if you want to avoid, if you want to run 25 quarterback runs in a game, all good to you, but we just got on talking in the last hour about how it's not the most sustainable way to run an offense just because of the nature of the hits that you're going to be taking. if you do take hits. I mean, that's a whole other skill in itself. One of the reasons why Lamar Jackson's such a great runner is because he's really good at getting out of bounds before you can take his head off, right? But to avoid your quarterback getting
also
hit 25
fast as
times.
lightning.
Yes, which is also helps you get out of bounds before anybody can take your head off. But if you have another quarterback who could come in there with the same skill set, maybe on a second and short, third and short to be able to move the chains, and a guy who at the SEC level ran for almost 1,000 yards in a season, right? Like there was a season that Robbie Ashford did that. It's not a terrible idea to mix up the look a little bit, give a team like Kentucky something that they haven't seen on the one game of film that they have on you, and to be able to not change much in your offense because they do have that shared trait.
I don't know. Again, like I say, the bigger question is, because we keep coming back to these words too, cohesion and confidence, cohesion and confidence, cohesion and confidence. You know, you need to build the cohesion with Lenoris as the number one guy, but the confidence has to spread throughout, and you don't want to, not to say that it would damage his confidence. Look, he's part of a football team. He's going to understand the larger dynamics that are at work if you had to do something like that. But that's why I say, Bob, and thanks for your phone call, bud, you know, the plausibility is definitely there. You know, the probability, I don't know. And you got to be careful. I mean, Lord knows you wouldn't want your backup to get hurt when you were putting him in on purpose, you know, or something like that.
Still have to be careful.
Yeah, you know, and that's just, look, that's part of the game and getting hurt. So there's just a lot of things there that you have to really stop and think about. And that's why I come back around for this weekend. You know, so much of last weekend needed to be a look ahead to this weekend. And that's why I say I'm not – maybe there's a few things here or there that they didn't show that they can break out for Kentucky. But, man, you know, the little things that Shane talks about, you know, again, perimeter blocking during the run game, you know, blocking from the tight ends finishing the block. I mean, apparently there were more than a few times in his mind where they didn't do that. And, you know, even if I've watched the game twice, which I have, and I don't pick all those things out, they probably already watched it 10 times.
I would love to sit and watch the game with him to see, because he was very adamant about perimeter players, receivers, tight ends not blocking.
He didn't like that.
When I asked him, what's the one thing you have to correct first, he did not hesitate.
Yeah, he jumped right in. When I was listening post-game, you know, to your question, he was ready for you to finish asking.
Yeah,
you know,
I
mean that in a good way.
Finish. Yeah, I almost didn't get to finish the question. He was just
nodding along, and he went right into it. Yeah, so
when I watched it again today, I was trying to find maybe some examples, and I found a few. But I like Josh Simon in particular. I thought blocked pretty well in that, especially in that first half.
Yeah,
not as much in the second half, but there were like 2 or 3 first downs that Josh Simon was the paver of the way for whether it be Lenoris or Rocket to be able to pick up first downs. I mean, the running game, you know, some might want to point out that they only picked up, 3.1 yards per carry, but kneel downs count against your total.
Yeah,
Sacks counts against your total. And the 2 touchdowns you scored were 2 and 6 yards away. So obviously you can't run much more than that.
Right.
But out of all the first downs, of the 18 first downs you got in the game, 16 of them were on the ground. You did move the chains on the ground pretty well. And who knows, they could have maybe did more if the perimeter players could have blocked a little bit.
Since we've been talking a lot about it, let's hear from Shane Beamer, cut 4, Elijah. This is Shane talking about how many times Lenoris carried the ball.
A little of both. A lot of it was designed. We don't want to run him 22 times a game like we did tonight, certainly, but we're going to utilize him in the run game. But we've got to continue to be better around him. And, we ran for 174 yards, which is good. We carried the ball 56 times. We've got to be able to throw the ball better, no question about it. But a lot of those runs, David, though, they were either called runs for him or some were reads or scrambles, whatnot as well.
So South Carolina, as Shane said, 56 carries. Raheem Sanders had 24 of them for a net of 88 yards, 3.7 per. Lenoris had 22 of them for a net of 68, 3.1 per. Again, Lenoris lost 34 yards on sacks and or kneel down.
The last kneel down was definitely a dramatic, 6-step drop to kneel the ball down.
Oscar Attaway only had 4 carries for 8 yards, and then he had a one hit where he got hit behind the line. So, again, 56 total carries, 174 net yards, 3.1 per carry, 60 yards worth of losses. Not horrible, obviously, not great. And like I say, I'm nitpicking. I don't like sack numbers, but this is long since
very stupid NCAA
of college.
Statistic
Yeah,
thing.
so you just gotta live with it.
Super dumb.
But yeah, and real quick before we get out of here, cut 5. This kind of follows up here. All right, so you ran your quarterback 22 times. Does that mean you would like to pass more? Here's what Shane said.
Not necessarily. I mean, we've got to be able to throw the ball better than what we did tonight, and we will. But we've also got to be able to execute when we call passes. And we had some drops. We had some, routes that we didn't run quite correctly. We had some protection issues. We had some misreads, by the quarterback. So we've all got to, coach better. There's no question about it in the passing game. But, I can. If you are able to, keep the ball for 36 minutes like we did tonight and run 56 times for close to 200 yards, that's not a bad formula, but absolutely we have to be able to throw the ball better than we did.
And if you're wondering, again, Lenore's was 10 of 23. So, and then I guess there was one, well, no, I guess that one, I was going to say there was one pass, but that technically comes off the board because that was a penalty.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that would have been, how long was that pass?
Wait, the Jared Brown
fake?
drop? Oh, the fake. Oh, the fake. Yeah. That came off the board. Yeah, that was 35 yards maybe.
That would have been something.
It was a dot.
Yeah.
Guy Kroger. Dot. Heisman.
803-404-6100. We'll get some hits from the text line. Keep sending those in. A few more hits on Twitter as well, and we will get into some of the bigger picture college football stories, including the humbling experiences of the Clemson Tigers and the Florida Gators. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Ever sit in this meeting?
What would you say you do here? I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Think to yourself, man, I'd rather be listening to the game.
You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download our app on all of your devices, and you'll never be without the game again. 107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Love telling you about our friends at Palmetto Propane. The Palmetto Propane Hearth and Patio Home Store is ready to help you out, especially now as we get into the fall months ahead of the holidays. I know it's just the second day of September, but time to start thinking about family and friends gathering around the fire. And maybe instead of all the spiders and bugs in the woodpile, you would like some brand new gas logs for the inside, or maybe a cool fire pit out back, or both. Hey, they've got gas logs by Real Fire, by White Mountain Hearth, premium brands of grills as well, Big Green Egg, Blaze, the ever-popular Traegers. Palmetto Propane features 5 Hearth and Patio Home Store showrooms for you to get in there and see what these are like in your home or on the back deck or patio. Aiken, West Columbia, Batesburg, Lexington, and Augusta. Palmetto Propane, proud to serve the great folks of South Carolina since 1959, and they'll be doing it for many, many years to come. Find a store near you. Learn a lot more at palmettopropane.com.
Sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com.
It's Ryan Seacrest here. Chumba Casino is where I go to play hundreds of casino-style games for free for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. You can do it too. ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
How would you like to drive a new car with no payments for 3 full months? That's exactly what you can do when your car loan is with State Credit Union. Visit one of their 19 branches or their website for details. Apply for your new car loan online at scscu.com. That's scscu.com. Offer not available for internal refinances. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
The Good Feet store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Single game tickets for the 2024 Gamecock football season are on sale now. Discounted single game tickets are also available for first responders, teachers, military, and more. To see what's planned for the 2024 season and to purchase tickets, visit GamecocksOnline.com/2024. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Don't let the season fool you. It's pool time in the Midlands. Hi, I'm Paul Romenstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Loans. We have the experts in custom pool design and installation. The summer months might be flying away, but in the Midlands, the heat is here to stay. Dive into comfort and beat the heat all year round. Call Midlands Landscape today and make your dream pool a reality. MidlandsLandscape.com.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line.
At 803-404-6100. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
I'm gonna start with Dylan, man. I'm super proud of him tonight. Like, he had a great game and like been through a lot since he's been here, and it's just like I'm proud to see what he's done. Like, he's one of the best freshmen I ever laid my eyes on, and I'm excited to see what he's gonna keep doing. As far as me, I feel like that goes into Dylan and the rest of the D-line again. Like, they held their gaps and put me in a position to do what I had to do. So like, that's a testament to the whole defense, really.
That's Kyle Kennard. He and Dylan Stewart, as he just mentioned, sharing Defensive Lineman of the Week honors in the Southeastern Conference. Congratulations. Kyle transferring in. Dylan literally playing his first ever college football game.
And won them the game.
Yeah, I mean, they were brilliant.
Punch out wins you the game.
Dylan Stewart, they both had 4 tackles. Let's see. Kyle, 2.5 sacks. Dylan had 1.5 sacks. 3.5 tackles for loss for Kennard, 1.5 for Dylan. Dylan forced 2 fumbles. Kyle forced a third. So you can see why. They were absolute difference makers. They were disruptive. Their PFF numbers, again, even better than what you might see, as I like to say, from the trading card stats. And as Elijah pointed out to us earlier, Dylan Stewart, according to Pro Football Focus, literally had the best game of any defender in the United States on the weekend. That's PFF saying that. And it's not opinion. It's based on the numbers they use and the formulas they put together to determine how good a guy was, again, with the trading card stats and what he's doing every single play. Literally the best graded defender in America this weekend, a true freshman, Dylan Stewart.
Yeah, in his first game playing college football. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
When we saw that depth chart and he was listed 3rd on it, but with some oars, of course, I figured that wouldn't be something that lasted very long.
He's still listed as an oar this weekend. I think he's going to start.
I think a bold prediction here, he's going to play a lot.
Yeah, going out on that limb.
Yeah.
Risky for a conference game. I get it. On the road. I mean, maybe he doesn't make the travel squad.
Yeah, I mean, he's pushing it. He's really pushing it. I mean,
I don't want somebody to take us seriously because somebody might.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's get on a couple of hits on the Firehouse Subs text line. What do you got for me, sir?
Got a nameless texter here. It says, I think Sellers look nervous and will get better. The run game seems a lot better. Juju needs more snaps, touches. The D-line will carry the team through a lot. A big thing South Carolina hasn't had in a long time is more than one top-level player on the D-line at once. So having Kennard, Tonka, TJ Boogie, and Dylan Stewart is something different. That will be very good for this team all year. So when looking for a bright spot, I think that texture found, the bright spots.
Right.
Because there's a lot of negative we can talk about, but that is certainly one thing that if you're going to think carries the team this year, that defense.
I agree, and I think that's an excellent point about the defensive line. It's interesting with Juju McDowell. Let me go back to the offensive stats real quick while I'm doing this on live radio. Juju had only, 2 carries, and he had – was he targeted?
I don't think he was targeted.
No, he was not. So just the 2 plus the touches on the punt returns, which I think went for a total of like 15 yards. I don't disagree with that. Again, they've got to find those ways. You can't. You're not going to run him between the tackles. I think that's the job of Sanders and Attaway, and you may work Howell and Braswell into the mix and some of the other guys at some point. Let's see, Attaway he had 4 carries. Howell and Braswell did not. I don't even know if they got into the game.
Yeah, I did not see them.
I don't think they got
in the entire game.
But yeah, and again, you'd like to think he can break something off for you in the punt return game. He's not going to score a lot of touchdowns, but I mean, if he can make something happen there, but I would not disagree. And again, could well be that they would like to have done more with him in the past game and just didn't get a chance to. We heard that cut from Shane in the last segment. Yeah, we got to get better there. And to the point that the texter just made too. Yeah, I think there were times, nervous and jitters and whatnot, kind of different. You hear this all the time. I mean, even for what guys like you and I do, and I'm not comparing us to like live action football players here, but like actors on stage, or just when you go, people that give a speech in front of her, you're confident in what you're going to do, but you still just get that little jittery thing. And if you haven't done it as prepared as you may be, you may still, and that could be something along the lines of where Lenoris was the other day, even if he has seen some game time. All of a sudden it's like, this is my car now. I got to drive it well. And maybe
that comes with caring.
Yeah.
Too.
Even if you took, the driving school, and all of a sudden somebody says, listen, here's your car now. Yeah. Those first few days, you're going to be like, kind of white knuckle on the wheel.
His hands are on 10 and 2 at all times.
Eventually you lean one arm out and, you're trying to change the radio or, look down at your phone and get the latest on Spotify. But
yeah, I like to do the one-hand wheel turn. Once a master, never went back. Never went back.
I'm still always amazed, by the way, and I don't condone this at all, but the person that's like smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee and driving and looking at their phone. I'm like, I don't know how you're still alive, but you're doing something right. But it ain't what you're doing. Well, it's the right.
That's the unfortunate thing about that is all it takes is one mistake.
Sure.
You might be getting away with it for now, but all it takes is one.
There are things to lean on and believe that there are positives. And once again, we're talking about a win. I know it's not what you most ideally wanted. It's not what Shane Beamer, his coaches and players most ideally wanted.
His face said it all when he got done with that interview.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was not happy, and he caught himself a couple of times. He's good about that. In private, I imagine some of the things that he almost said in the press conference were indeed said, behind closed doors. Like, hey, you kids, I'm going to need you to do a better job.
I'm sure it sounded just like that.
In some form or fashion. So there's that. One more from Shane real quick here before we get out of here on this break. Cut number 12. What can be done better? What are you going to be working on this week offensively?
We got to block on the perimeter better than we did tonight. Period. If you're going to play receiver here, you got to block. And if you're going to play tight end here and you're not in the passing game, you got to block. And I'm not saying the effort was poor. I'm not saying it was all bad, but I think we're going to look back at the tape and see that there's a lot of plays that if we just execute a little bit better in the run game on the perimeter, we'll be a lot happier. Having said that, being able to sustain drives, I feel like we had some drives that we got down there and then shot ourselves in the foot. And but I'll say this too. I mean, we told them at halftime. We knew at halftime we were stinking it up in a lot of ways, and we told the offense in front of the team, "Look, all eyes are on you. We get the kill opening kickoff. We want to see what you do here. We haven't been at our best, and let's see what we do on this drive." And we had a drive that got 3 points. I went for that fourth down, backed up in our own territory, and I told the offensive line because I trust them and believe in them, and we were able to get that first down. And then we had a third down conversion on that drive to Dre over on the sideline, which was a big play. And then I hate that we weren't able to finish the drive with points, but we moved the ball. We got to finish with touchdowns. And I looked up. One time, I won't even get into that. We got to finish with touchdowns.
So there you go. Again, there's something there. And that, by the way, that was the question that we mentioned earlier that Elijah asked Coach Beamer, and Shane was chomping at the bit to answer it. He leapt right in to that answer. But even at the end there, again, that's one of those little moments. And by the way, if you want to watch these, you can. They are on the Gamecocks YouTube channel, so feel free.
They go up pretty quick
at your leisure. To go to the Gamecocks YouTube channel and watch all of these, the players, the coaches. It's all up there when it comes to post-game stuff.
But yeah, that's how Tyler cuts these pretty tight and pretty well because he jumped in so fast, but he still didn't catch part of the question. Right. That's how tight Tyler cuts this. That was very well done. Very well done. You can maybe hear part of the last syllable maybe if you listen close enough, but...
Well, you set him up nicely, and he was ready. And I know you weren't trying to set him up, but he was.
It just happened that way.
Well, he wanted to. He wanted to answer your question, man. We got to block better on the perimeter, and that was number one. Bang.
He needed zero time to think about that.
803-404-6100. Get into more of your calls, your texts on the Firehouse Subs text line, and we'll get into some more what's going on around college football again, including what happened under the dome in Atlanta. This is the Postgame Show.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Sips and Sounds, the only craft beer, wine, and spirits tasting event held indoors under the cool AC. No rain, no heat, no worries. Unlimited sampling of over 40 brands of local and national craft beers, wine, seltzers, and spirits. Live performances by Ken and Drew of Sister Hazel, Dazer, and the Donovan Twins.
Saturday, September 28th. Get your unlimited tasting wristbands now at sipsandsoundscola.com.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips for the Men's Clinic. Not feeling like yourself as you get a little older? You're wondering why? Don't wait for it to change or go away. Instead, see Dr. Dan Bognight and his team at the Men's Clinic. You'll have a one-on-one consultation that will get to the root of the issue and get you back to feeling like you used to. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all treatment at the Men's Clinic. Get a free consultation. Schedule one at 803-875-MENS and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com. This year, Roy and Dana Finley are shaking things up at AAA Heating and Air. For the next 12 months, they're telling their customers no. Get a new system purchase with no payments and no interest until 2025. And don't forget their 15-year parts and labor warranty, $1,500 old system buyback, and guaranteed financing. So do what I did. Call AAA Heating and Air for your free estimate today and tell them Jay Phillips sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Quietest dishwasher in the land. Like a Bosch. Dishes drier than the desert sand. Like a Bosch. Wash the dishes like a Bosch.
Clean like a Bosch. Check out the selection of Bosch dishwashers at the Nest in the Vista.
South Carolina residents turning 65 or approaching retirement, this is it. The time to choose your Medicare coverage is here. But don't panic and settle for a plan that doesn't fit, because the Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina Medicare team is standing by with plans that let you choose from our large network of doctors and hospitals and fast local service. Call Call 833-747-0533. 833-747-0533 now.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevy. It's back to cool season with big-time savings on Tahoe Suburbans and the all-new Chevy Traverse. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell reporting some traffic around the area. And the good news is no accidents relating to traffic backups. Knock on wood that we continue that. Usually we have 3 or 4. None at the moment, but we still have some long-term road construction that's causing some natural traffic and road closures in the area, starting with one on I-26 between Bush River Road and exit 108A and exit 125, as well as one on I-20 between I-26, exit 64, and exit 65.
It's Reaction Monday. Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network. What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On the Game Network.
You know, we talk all the time about playing this team. You got to out-physical them, you got to out-hustle them, and you got to out-discipline them. And I thought we did all 3 of those today. I was really proud of our guys, proud for this university.
Kirby Smart in Atlanta after Georgia's 34-3 dismantling of the Clemson Tigers. Georgia went in, I think at first it was about 13.5. I think it closed at 10.5.
Yeah, it went down. There was a lot of action on Clemson that forced that line down a little bit.
The first half was good defensively for both schools, or I guess you could say bad offensively for both schools. Georgia did kick a couple of field goals. But in the second half, Georgia made all the adjustments big time.
Definitely.
And
that's an understatement right there.
Outscored the Tigers 28-3 in quarters 3 and 4 to go on to the 34-3 victory. The cut right behind it, please. Dabo Sweeney on what he saw from his ball club. Cut 36, sorry.
Sometimes you get your butt kicked, and we did today. And that's not what we came here to do, but you got to give Georgia credit, and we got to move on. We got to learn from it. I'm sorry for our fans. I feel terrible for them because we didn't get it done for them tonight. Didn't play those last 2 quarters like we know we can play. But I promise you this, we'll get back to work, and a long season ahead.
There's a lot of things that people have been saying about Dabo and Clemson of late. I saw one comment that said, from a Clemson fan, I'm paraphrasing, but I can take losing. I can't take not showing up. Well, I think you showed up.
Especially in that first half. Your defense did what your defense does.
You showed up. You got beat. I've seen others saying it's all about the portal and Dabo's refusal to dip into it.
Part of it.
Part of it.
Because you have to at least, get back more than you lose.
Yeah.
I think they could have used Bo Collins yesterday.
I don't disagree.
Or Andrew Makuba.
Listen, and here's what I think enough Clemson fans don't want to stop and admit and believe anymore. You had two of the best college quarterbacks of the last 50 years go back-to-back for you. That's what you had.
It's the equivalent of the Packers having Favre and Rodgers.
Yes. I mean, it really is, man. And you got to understand that. Deshaun and Trevor are most schools are happy when they get one. You got two, and you got them back-to-back. And DJ and now Cade simply are not even in that class. They're just not. And it makes such a difference. It takes the pressure off of everything else. Very rarely did Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence make a bad decision. And even when they made a bad decision or a bad play, it almost felt like it wasn't as bad as it could have been if it was somebody else.
Because you don't trust anybody else to be able to bounce back and then put up those numbers and play like that.
Clemson's defense is pretty good. Look, but what we saw, I think, is pretty. If they play 10 times, does Georgia win by 31 each time? Nah. But you know what, man? If they play 10 times, I think Georgia wins 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
They're just that much better than you. Again, I don't think Clemson. Look, and if that Clemson fan, I saw that Saturday. If that's accurate, and Clemson, quote, didn't show up, who's that on? I mean, obviously that's on them. And I don't even mean, listen, a coach can only do so much motivating. It's not lost on Clemson's players who they were scheduled to play.
They had a lot of time to prepare for this one.
So they showed up. That's why I don't buy into the notion that they didn't show up. They showed up. They got their butt kicked because Georgia's that much better than you.
Yeah, you're not in the same class with them anymore.
You're not.
And it ain't close.
And I was telling another friend of mine on Saturday, and I think you and I have discussed this to some degree. Right now, and this is just my opinion, but it's just how I look at it, there are two programs that are above everybody else. And I'm not saying that there's a huge gap between 3 through 5 or 6 or whatever, okay? But Georgia and Ohio State are better than you. Both of them are going to be good this year. Neither of them may win a title. I don't know. Because it's hard to win the title. And eventually you do lose a game in sports. Again, Georgia was the best team in America last year. Sorry, Michigan, I love you. And good for you. What are all the BS and whatever else? I'm a big Harbaugh fan. You didn't need Wild Stallions doing what he was doing. It was all about a cheeseburger, blah, 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 blah. Michigan was great. Georgia would have been favored over you. Maybe by only 1.5 points. 2-point favored or something. But Georgia wasn't the 6th best team in the country. I know I've banged that drum a few times. Ohio State and Georgia are better than everybody else from a talent perspective, a coaching perspective, a cultivation perspective, a culture perspective, everything. Oregon is close. Alabama is going to be fine. Texas looked really good. I honestly, I know it was Colorado State, but Texas, man, they looked really good the other day. All right.
Arch Manning looked pretty good too. He got some.
Yeah,
run.
he got to get in there, right? Miami, you looked really good the other day. Maybe, and we'll talk about them too as it relates to Clemson, because I said on Twitter the other day, Georgia humbled Clemson, and Miami was doing the same thing to the Gators. The difference was that the Hurricanes were doing it in the swamp. Florida looked lost. And that really surprised me. It didn't surprise me that Georgia was doing to Clemson what they did, to be honest with you. I thought I didn't know it was going to happen. I picked Florida because I was just I kept telling you in the back of my mind, with no dog in the hunt, man, Florida's got to win this game.
Desperation sometimes yields unexpected results.
And now, ooh, boy, so
they
both those programs, and Clemson has been on top of the mountain more often of late, certainly than Florida has. But I can't get into this notion that, well, if Dabo would just attack the portal, Clemson would be right there. I mean, would they be better? Yeah. I grant that.
Adapt or die is a real thing.
Yeah. But how much better? That is harder to answer. But let's just say Clemson had 3 or 4 more really good players that are juniors or seniors from the portal that had been at good programs. Georgia's still going to beat you. Georgia's still way better than you. And now from what I've seen from what Miami did to Florida, I mean, look, some of you already said, I say some of you just fans, man, Billy Napier, go ahead and put the for sale sign up, dude. Go ahead and get the pod in the front yard and start packing it up. Yeah, I get it. They have Samford this week, who, again, pushed them a couple seasons ago. But
fighting Cortland Finnegans.
But, by the way, is there like a strength of schedule number? Like, not just, I know that Florida's is the toughest, but is there a number assigned to it, like that a computer spits out? I'd just like to know what the gap might be between Florida's toughness and whoever number 2 is.
Between 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably very steep.
Because I'd also like to know, and I'm being serious when I ask you this, has there ever been a tougher schedule in like a rating type way than what Florida has? Because it's brutal.
It's nasty.
And I love it. I'm glad they scheduled it. And they should be better, right?
I would like to award their courage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because that's what football should be. It's just, and whatever. But, man, those 2 outcomes didn't, I thought Clemson would be able to do a little bit. And then you just realize, yeah, you're just not that good. Again, Clemson showed up. Mm-hmm. They got beat.
Because that defense, like, what we thought about Clemson going into the season kind of unfolded in that game, right? Defensively, you played really well in that first half. You held them to 2 field goals. You made plays. Carson Beck wasn't taking the top off that defense. And as good as that Georgia offensive line is, you maintained in that first half. But you couldn't move the ball in them at all. I think they had only 77 yards of total offense in the first half, and you were still only down 6-0 because that's how good your defense is. But ultimately, pressure is going to break that levee, and it's going to get nasty. And those levees broke in the second half when I think fatigue kicked in and Georgia's receivers are getting yards after catch in bunches. And then you just couldn't respond because you can't move the ball because no one trusts that offense. I think they showed why you cannot trust that offense. Even as good as Georgia's defense is, I think all of our priors were confirmed in that game on Saturday.
And do remember, Georgia, without their top 2 running backs and their top wide receiver going into this season. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
This is Jonathan Peterlin with the Sports Minute. 2 titles in 7 years sounds pretty nice, but it's funny how we can always twist it. When Dabo's doing well, then it's 2 titles in 7 years. When he's not doing well, it's that he hasn't made the college football playoff since 2020. Maybe Dabo's explained away pretty easily. Trevor Lawrence to Deshaun Watson. Without that, he's just not as good. Or maybe it's Clemson being one of 4 FBS schools that didn't use the portal this offseason. For me, it's really that simple. I'm Jonathan Peterlin.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Who doesn't love getting something for free? Labor Day deals have arrived at the Home Depot, and right now you can get a free Milwaukee 18-volt extended capacity battery, $159 value, when you buy a select tool. Get longer runtime and more battery life so you can power all your fall projects. Shop Labor Day deals and get a free battery when you buy a select tool at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Limit 1 per transaction. Exclusions apply. Full eligible tool list in store and online.
Let's see, landscapers I can afford. All right, searching affordable landscapers near me. Here we go.
Right here, sir. How can we help?
It's the same ones I saw last time.
Sir, we're right here and reasonably priced. Why is he not seeing us?
It looks like the ugly yard stays.
Sir, can you not see us?
Nope, he can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local landscapers. You're invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost. Get found. Get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
It should be easy to find a local plumber, right? Plumber near me.
Hey there, we can help you.
Weird. These are all big companies.
Excuse me, we're a plumbing company 2 miles away. Hello?
Well, it is what it is. Guess I'll dial that 1-800 number.
Can she seriously not see us?
No, they can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local plumbers. You're invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost. Get found. Get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah. Crazy story. I'm at the Nissan end of summer sales event when Laura, the saleswoman, asks,
"Want to test drive the Rogue?"
I'm like, let's go. We're driving when Laura says,
"Want to see something cool? VC turbo engine."
I hit the gas and whoosh. I'm like, okay, wasn't expecting that. Laura goes,
"Check this out."
She shows me the miles per gallon, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive fuel economy.
These new Nissan Rogues are going fast.
I knew I had to have that Nissan Rogue. Crazy, right?
Wait till you hear how I got my Nissan Sentra.
Get up to $2,500 total savings on remaining select early model 2024 Rogue Platinum trims. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. Total savings consists of $1,250 retail customer cash plus $1,250 bonus cash on select remaining 2024 Rogue inventory as available at your local dealership. Select Rogue bonus cash available on 40% of dealers' most aged inventory. Updated weekly. Available on purchase from new dealer stock. Contact your local dealer for current inventory information. Ends 9/3/24.
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Happy Labor Day to all. Appreciate you being with us. We're here working, if that's what you call it.
Doesn't feel like work.
No, not on a day like this. Reacting to Carolina's win over Old Dominion, which to some didn't feel all that great.
That felt like work for some.
Georgia beating Clemson by 31 points. Miami beating Florida, 41-17 in a game that wasn't that close.
Nope.
Really wasn't. Really wasn't. Bob has been patient as we were talking about what happened in Atlanta and Gainesville. He joins us now. Hey, Bob, good afternoon.
Hi, Jay. Just one question. What did Nick Harbor do? I've not talked with any or heard anybody talking about how he did or what he did Saturday.
Yeah, let's see. Nick was targeted twice. I know the one was the one that Lenoris sailed him, and Nick almost got undercut and landed pretty hard. And I'm trying to remember now the other target, but he didn't have a catch.
So he caught the ball physically. He just had a whole foot out of bounds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
One
on
near
the sideline. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I will say his best contribution to the game was keeping the fumble when Lenoris got popped. The ball pops out, and the Old Dominion linebacker scoops it, and it's looking like he's going for a scoop and score, but Nick Harbor was able to push him out of bounds, and ultimately they had to settle for a field goal.
Well, and thank goodness he can run. Right?
Well documented.
Yes.
Very fast.
Yeah. He's got to be a bigger part of it too, Bob. Thanks for the phone call. He again 2 targets. Here's your target numbers. Dre Jacobs 4 targets, 2 catches. Mazio Bennett 2 for 2. Michael Smith, tight end, 3 targets, 2 catches. Josh Simon 2 targets, 1 catch. Raheem Sanders 1 for 1. Peyton Mangum, 3 targets, 1 catch. Delvin Campbell, 1 for 1. Jared Brown, 3 targets, no catches. Remember, that was one of the penalties. Nick Harbor, 2 targets, again, no catch. Brady Hunt, 1 target, no catch. South Carolina, 10 for 23 through the air on Saturday, and that's got to improve. And you talked about it before too, Elijah. Balance doesn't mean half carries or half rushes, half passes. Balance means, from a Mike Leach perspective at least, finding a way to make sure that you've spread the ball around to everybody. And how much of that was at work on Saturday in terms of this coaching staff, especially Dowell. With input certainly from Mike Furry, input from Sean Elliott, and everybody else too on just trying. Markel Blackwell and what he wanted to do with his guys. Figuring out who's going to do what. And again, that's a lot of guys. I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10 guys. So we were almost there, huh? 10 guys got targeted. It's not bad.
9. Yes, 9 if you count running, just receivers and tight ends.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because Rocket Sanders.
Rocket Sanders. Yeah. So the 9.5 was our over under.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Hit 9. The Postgame Show sports book. Our casino don't look this good because we lose,
that's
baby.
true. Okay, yeah,
this casino looks pretty
we
good.
Did say that's right with tight ends and receivers. Nice. So you win. Well done. And I guess Terry Ford technically also wins. We talked the three of us at the end of our show on Friday out at Columbia Craft. What would the first play be? And you called play action.
Mm-hmm.
I said a toss sweep. Terry said a plain old run between the tackles. Now, it ended up being that the first play from scrimmage was from the 2-yard line after a forced fumble, but it was a run between the tackles
nonetheless
that looked like a score. But then after review, Raheem Sanders was about a foot short. And then it took 2 more plays to finally get him in the end zone.
Wasn't pretty, but effective.
Second play was Lenoris on the keeper.
They tried to tush-push it a little bit.
Yep.
Not enough push for said tush.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, he's big, man. You got to, he's too big to maneuver. You need to have like 3 guys pushing him. He's big.
If we're going to use Reggie Bush as a unit of measurement, for Bush push, I think you probably need like 2 Reggies.
Probably.
I think pushing Lenoris might be two Reggies equivalent.
That's when you just roll the tight ends back around and just shove them in there. But Raheem got it on the third play there. And then, you felt like, all right, that's a good little start. I mean, big defensive stop and a forced fumble.
Thinking this is the best start imaginable.
And you had that tackle for loss on like the first play of the game. It was, everything was great. And then DQ Smith got burned a couple plays later, and it was 7. And you're like, all right, now it's 7-7. You're back at it. And, I don't know how much, and I'm not going to dwell on the lightning delay. I know that sent a lot of people away, and it was an unknown. You could get back in. Typically Carolina does not let you back in, but because of an official weather delay, you were able to use your ticket to get yourself back into the ball game. And then you had a 20-minute halftime because that was with what? I forget how much time was left in the second quarter.
It was like a little over 9 minutes, I believe.
And it just felt like, look, it's unfortunate that some people didn't want to come back. There's a lot of reasons as to why. I remember when the Gamecocks, I think it was in 13, on a Thursday, opened with North Carolina. There was a weather delay then. And my wife and I had all 4 of them at the game.
Could be a little tricky.
And so we were like, well, we're going to be watching this one from the house.
Watching the rest of it.
Because that was a hot, balmy night to begin with. But the 2 youngest ones, man, I think the youngest one was 5.
Oh, man, yeah.
So we had to...
Ready to go.
Yeah. If it was a Saturday, maybe so. But it was a Thursday, so we didn't. Headlines of the day, more sound from Coach Beamer, drive around the SEC, all coming up in the final hour of the Postgame Show.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Oh, it's another one of those weeks where it's going to be a little humid, but kind of nice and that kind of tweener weather that we like. You might start thinking about what you're going to do for the heating system. You might start thinking, man, I don't know how old this system is. I've been here at the house for a while. Maybe it's time for something better, more efficient. Maybe it'll save me some money across the board. Well, AAA Heating and Air is ready to help you out. Don't worry about the cost of a brand new system. With guaranteed financing, comfort is always going to be in your budget. And Roy and Dana Finley now offering you 12 months of no payments or interest when you buy in 2024, plus a $1,500 system buyback rebate and the 15-year parts and labor guarantee. So if it is time for something new, get that instant quote now. See how much you could save for many years to come. Call AAAtoday.com is the website. Punch in some quick info. They'll give you that instant quote, or you can call them up and speak with them. 803-677-1500. Great stuff at my house. Bill Gunners as well. Good people at AAA Heating and Air. Tell them we sent you and stay cool.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.5 million lottery-funded scholarships such as Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow scholarships have been awarded to South Carolina students? Playing for fun is a win for education. Visit seeducationlottery.com/education wins for more information.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad those arch supports are in my shoes.
The Good Feet Store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com. Need a new financial institution? Visit any of State Credit Union's 20 branches. Need to buy a new car? Apply on State Credit Union's website. Need to buy a new home? Call State Credit Union's mortgage department. Need to pay bills on the go? Use State Credit Union's mobile banking app. No matter what financial service you need, you'll find it at State Credit Union. Learn more at scscu.com. That's scscu.com. NMLS number 478278. Equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents report that are causing some issues on the roadways, and by that I mean there are no active accidents, according to my sheet here, that are causing active traffic backups. Now, we do have some long-term construction leading to some road closures, like one on I-20 between I-26 exit 64 and Broad River Road near exit 65. That's still ongoing, as well as some long-term road construction on I-126 between Hugh G. Street and I-26, and on 26 between Bush River Road near exit 108A and Old Sandy Run near exit 125.
WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia. The home of the national champion, Gamecocks women's basketball team. Congrats, y'all. A Cumulus media station. It's Reaction Monday. Tell us all about it.
I also know that we're going to get better throwing the football. We had 3 receivers that played a lot of snaps tonight that weren't even here during spring practice.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local source for Honda power sports, ATVs, motorcycles, scooters, side-by-sides, and generators. Exit 70 off I-20, turned by the Flying J. Online at carolinahonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach, the Game Network. It's time to check out what up in the world of sports.
This just in, breaking news is breaking out everywhere.
The 5 o'clock news. The Postgame Show.
If you're just joining us, I'm covering some breaking news. You know news is breaking because I'm telling you so, and I might touch my earpiece like this.
5 o'clock news, sponsored by Integrated Media. Columbia's premier home theater and security experts for over 20 years.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Monday. Happy Labor Day and welcome back in. Final hour of the Post-Game Show along with Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Thank you so much for being with us. We have been spending the bulk of our afternoon discussing South Carolina's 23-19 victory over Old Dominion, but a game that for a lot of people leaves more questions than answers. when it comes to South Carolina football's outlook for the remainder of 2024. Gamecocks go to Kentucky this weekend. They've been installed, at least as of today, as 9.5-point underdogs with an over-under of 45.5. Kickoff set for right around 3:30. South Carolina and Kentucky will be the first conference game of the season, and they'll be the first two to utilize the new availability report. But we'll get into all that stuff for you later on during the week. We've talked a lot about it in terms of our own opinions. Shane Beamer telling us that overall, despite the win, most of what he saw, he did not like.
Having said that, unacceptable from us from that standpoint in the way that we perform, starting with me. Certainly happy to win, and we're celebrating in the locker room. Winning's hard. So some people may not like that. We celebrate wins around here. So we're celebrating in that locker room because our guys have worked too damn hard since January to not go in there and have some fun and celebrate a win, because we only get 12 of these that are guaranteed as well. Sloppy without a doubt. And particularly, really in all three phases. A lot to clean up, obviously. Offense, defense, special teams did some good in all three phases and certainly did some bad in all three phases. So we have to coach better, without a doubt. We knew going into this game we're a young football team. We started a true freshman left tackle. We got a redshirt freshman quarterback. We're going to have to live through some growing pains. Disappointing that we just had some of the self-inflicted things that we had tonight in all three phases. It had nothing really to do with youth. We got to be able to, get lined up and execute and things like that. So that starts with me.
So there you go. A lot he didn't like. You won the football game. Again, that's most important. Silver linings in there somewhere. Cut to here, Elijah. Shane Beamer on what he takes as the good from Saturday.
Having said that, though, proud as heck of our team. A lot of teams would have found a way to lose that game, as ugly as it looked at times, and with some of the adversity we dealt with and some of the situations we put ourselves in. I thought we responded to adversity each time. Whenever something bad happened to one phase, the other phase picked them up and responded, whether it be, I think after we gave up that deep ball early in the game, I believe we came right back down the field and got points on the next drive maybe to start the second half. We took the ball down there and got points when, we had a turnover on offense. Nick, we talk about complimentary football. We had a turnover on offense. Nick Harbor made a unbelievable play running that guy down and getting him out of bounds, which then allowed O'Donnell to get the interception a play or two later. So complimentary football and having each other's backs, and certainly wasn't pretty. We got a lot to clean up, like I said, but we'll learn from this one, enjoy it, celebrate it, learn from this one, know that it was nowhere near good enough nowhere near good enough. But we're a team that's young, and we're going to continue to get better each and every week, and expect us to be a lot better next Saturday up in Lexington.
And I think what he wanted to say there was nowhere near good enough to compete for 8 conference games and a game in Death Valley at the end of the season out of conference as well. That's what he's going for, and he's more than likely correct.
Yeah, this is us translating for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to say.
And with what you saw from Vandy, and everybody's going to think, well, Vandy's always a pushover. Vandy looked good. I know it's one game. No matter who you look at, no matter what you take from anything, I know it's only one game, but Vandy looked very, very, very well prepared against Virginia Tech.
Fact of the matter is, Virginia Tech is a really good football team, and Vanderbilt beat them. It wasn't fluky. Vanderbilt beat them. And I think one thing that maybe, myself included, overlooked about Vanderbilt coming into the season was how much of a winner Diego Pavia is, a guy who went to New Mexico State and willed them to some wins, and how good of a football influence Jerry Kill is as a coach. He's not the head coach at Vanderbilt, but he's on the staff, and that guy wins wherever he goes at places that are historically very hard to win at. So, Vanderbilt's not going to be the easy easy W that we chalked up, early on in the season.
Yeah. More on what Vandy did and everybody across the conference coming up in the drive around the SEC at the bottom of the hour. To some difficult news for Carolina women's basketball. Columbia's Ashlyn Watkins was arrested on Saturday, charged with first-degree assault and battery and kidnapping following an incident on campus. WLTX reporting that it occurred in a dorm. Watkins allegedly assaulted the individual, according to the statement, by, quote, forcefully grabbing her face, pulling her by her arms, and pushing her. Again, according to this report, she also allegedly picked up the individual and carried her against her will. That individual allegedly got out of the grasp of Ashlyn Watkins, pulled a fire alarm, alerting authorities. According to WLTX, she was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Richland County records say that Watkins was released on a $30,000 personal recognizance bond. Her court appearance is scheduled for October the 25th. The program has simply said, we are aware of the situation and continue to gather information. Obviously, she's a big part of what Carolina basketball does, and she's a local player. Certainly more will be coming out on this story in the coming days and weeks. But again, if not, a court appearance scheduled for the final week of October. From some tough news for Carolina basketball to good news for a former superstar, Asia Wilson had her second 40-point, 15-rebound game yesterday as her Las Vegas Aces beat Phoenix 97-79. 41 points, 17 boards, 16 of 23 shooting.
Goodness.
She had 42 points in a loss to Dallas on Tuesday. Las Vegas shot 56% from the floor overall. Asia Wilson's the best player on the planet. That's me editorializing, but
I love. See, now we can make the joke that Miami beat Florida so bad they beat them like an Asia Wilson stat line because it was 41-17. Like that. Like that's how dominant she is, man. Like there's not a close second in that sport. She is so good.
She's tremendous. She's
pretty cool to say the best women's basketball player in the world.
Yeah, it is.
Right here in Columbia.
It is. That's right. The 49ers today placed Ricky Pearsall on the non-football injury list 2 days after, if you haven't heard this yet, maybe you've been away for the holiday weekend, he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt. The designation means he has to miss the first 4 games of the season as he recovers. Instead, let's see, they signed offensive lineman Brandon Parker to a 1-year deal to fill the open slot on their 53-man roster. He was shot near Union Square in San Francisco after a 17-year-old male attempted to rob him. There was a struggle, and both Pearsall and the suspect were shot as a result of said struggle. Pearsall's mom posted that that Ricky had been shot in the chest. The bullet exited out of his back, missed all vital organs. He had just been at an autograph signing at an event center before going to Union Square in San Francisco. There's some video of it, too.
Oh, wow. I have not. Yeah.
And it's, man, I mean, missed everything. Just basically somehow made a clean, path just right through him, which just in and of itself sounds horrible.
The odds of that missing everything, too, are very,
I don't know what
slim. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to know. But
I've thankfully never been in a position to have to know or have the desire to know, but I can tell you that has to be incredibly, incredibly slim.
The 17-year-old was arrested on scene. The San Francisco police chief says that they've started an investigation, but it seems as if this young man was acting alone, saying there was no indication that he targeted Pearsall because he's a football player, and added there was one gun involved with multiple shots fired during the attempted robbery. So, man, glad he's going to be okay.
Very glad. Yeah, very glad that story's not worse.
And seemingly, at least one of the other things I read this morning is that he's likely to be back when this, they have to do, again, he has to miss 4 games, but that he should be back and ready to go, which seems
even more
remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I guess you find out, but he was already released from the hospital.
Yeah. See, that shows how tough these dudes are because you know what? I'd be milking this. You wouldn't see me for, even if it missed everything and I would be physically fine, like you're not seeing me for a while.
After continuing our integrated media headlines of the day, after sweeping the Twins, who are a pretty good baseball team, the Atlanta Braves went to Philadelphia and dropped 3 of 4. Now, they lost a game 5-4. They won 7-2, got shut out Saturday, and then lost a heartbreaker last night on the National Game of the Week, 3-2 in 11. The pitching is there, man. The Braves can pitch.
Yeah.
The Braves can pitch.
Any more fitting of a first initial last name combo for the losing pitcher of last night's game to be a bummer, but I don't know if there's a more fitting pairing between first initial last name and team and loss than that, but that sums up the weekend series for the Braves.
Unfortunately for the Braves, too, in addition to losing the series 3-1, the New York Mets have won 4 in a row to cut that gap to just 1. So the Braves are still okay in the wild card chase, and that's what they're playing for now, man. I mean, I love my team, but with a month left, if you catch the Philadelphia Phillies to win another division title, it's A, you played really well, and B, the Phillies blew it.
Oh, yeah. They would have gagged it away.
But
that's how it's going to be portrayed because that's how it would.
But the Braves just need to hang on and stay in that wild card chase. But as it stands right now, let me get the latest for you here to make sure I'm right about these numbers. I know the Arizona Diamondbacks and San Diego Padres well up. But yeah, Braves just a 1-game advantage over the Mets and 3 over the Cubs, who have won 6 in a row and 9 of 10.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Again, the Braves can,
done.
pitch, but the Braves need to win. Man, they need to win.
Might I recommend hitting the ball? Have they thought about that?
Well, I think they have.
Is there someone we can tell?
There's good news, hopefully. The Braves have the Rockies coming into Atlanta this week.
They don't hit the ball very well.
No, and they can't pitch very well either, so hopefully the Braves score some runs.
Great combination.
Finally, congratulations to Scotty Scheffler, who won the PGA Tour's final stop of the season, the Tour Championship over at East Lake in Atlanta. And he also wins the FedEx Cup, which comes with a $25 million payday. It was pretty good. I watched the back nine yesterday. It was up and down a little bit. The way they go into this tournament is like a scoring system. So you go in like slotted with a score, and then you just got to, if you're like the first guy, you just got to hold on to it. And he had like a 6-shot lead for a bit that got narrowed to 2, and then he immediately had like 3 birdies in a row and just kind of said, all right, I'm done with all this crap.
It's like, how about I do the Scotty Scheffler thing?
And he did, man. He really did. It's the 3rd straight year that he's come in as the top seed. 2 years ago, he lost a 6-shot lead to Rory McIlroy. But he's been PGA Tour Player of the Year the last couple of seasons. And I don't have it here. Let me see. His season earnings of $29,228,000 represented just under 10% of the total purses this year. It's basically the second most amount of money ever won besides Tiger Woods. And if I saw correctly, what he's won in total this year would put him like in the top 10 all time. It's just it's amazing what he's won.
That's a Woodsian stat.
It's just
for making up words here.
It's just
Tiger Woodsian.
Yeah, it's crazy. But he's definitely the best on the planet at this point in time. And I like what he said at the end. It's been a very eventful year. It's been really fun. That's about what you get from him. And he became a dad and won a gold medal.
My favorite quote from him, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the actual quote in front of me, and I will botch it. But he did. Someone asked him about adding an Olympic, gold medal to his already elite Hall of Fame resume. And he's like, we're all going to die one day anyway, so really it's not going to matter at the end. And I was like, you know what? I've never respected existential dread more than I did in that moment.
He's who he is, man, but he's good at what he does. That's our integrated media headlines of the day. 803-948-8327 for all your home theater needs. More from Shane Beamer coming up.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
It's back! The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com and register. The pot starts at $100. Every week it increases $100 if Carolina doesn't score a special teams touchdown. But if the Gamecocks do score a special teams touchdown, you could win the pool. Again, just go to 1075thegame.com and register. It's the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest from 1075 The Game.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Sponsored by Budget Blinds of Forest Lake.
Enjoy the view, courtesy of your local window covering expert, Robert Myers from Budget Blinds of Forest Lake. Locally owned and operated, Budget Blinds of Forest Lake can provide your windows with exclusive styles to create the look you want at the budget you need. Visit budgetblinds.com for details.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. The South Carolina Education Lottery encourages all their players to learn about your play before you pay. To learn how the odds work, common lottery myths, and signs of problem gambling, check out sceducationlottery.com/betteryou. Playing the lottery for fun is a win for education.
Chubby's Burgers off Forest Drive is celebrating its grand opening. The team at Chubby's Burgers is so excited to share their unique smash burger concept with you. There's something on the menu for everyone. And now Chubby's has 2 locations, Chubby's in Blackwood and now Chubby's Columbia. Off Forest Drive, right off I-77. Come check out their That's What She Said burger. And Chubby's is now serving their cheesesteaks daily. Stop by today and say Chubby's 2 and get 10% off from now until November 30th. Chubby's Burgers in Blackwood and now open off Forest Drive in Columbia.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
Need a roof? Trust Crescent Construction, the official roofer of the Gamecocks. With over 20,000 roofs installed and counting, they've got the experience you need. They specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, and general contracting. Visit CrescentCarolina.com today for free estimates and free inspections. That's right, no cost, no commitment. Crescent Construction, quality you can count on. For all your roofing and construction needs, visit CrescentCarolina.com now.
Morisco's Don Cameron is the sweet deal of the week. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Visit 1075thegame.com beginning this Friday at 9 a.m. to get your $50 gift certificate to Morisco's Don Cameron for just $25.
I felt so alone, scared, angry. I just wanted to die. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living.
Visit aacolumbia.org for more information and to find an AA meeting near you.
Hi, Jen here. Did you know you could earn up to 4.59% annual percentage yield with All South Federal Credit Union's premium checking account? That's 30 times more than the national average interest checking rate, which means more money in your bank account each month. Plus, they have 23 locations right here in the Midlands. Open an account online at allsouth.org or visit an All South location today to start earning more. All South is federally insured by the NCUA.
Holzenbach Heating and Air, the Midlands residential HVAC specialist. Call us today at 803-685-7920. That's 803-685-7920. Holzenbach Heating and Air, proud supporter of Gamecock football.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Start making your plans to catch a game at Williams-Brice Stadium this fall. Single game tickets for the 2024 Gamecock football season are on sale now. For more information, visit GamecocksOnline.com/2024. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
Here's the delays. Looking left side. Wants to throw. Corner route. Picked off. That's O'Donnell Fortune. O'Donnell Fortune in the end zone. He dropped off this man. They want to go corner. He was waiting on it and then smartly took a knee in the end zone. Touchback on the play. So the turnover is thwarted. No score for Old Dominion as they trot off the field on that east sideline.
Big play there for South Carolina. That's Todd Ellis on the call on the Gamecock Radio Network. O'Donnell Fortune and Elijah, you were just telling me, I'll let you tell the audience, slowing it down just to see exactly what kind of instincts that young man has.
I love, there's certain plays, you go back and watch the second time, it impresses you more the second time than the first time. Right. This was one of those because I paused it, right as a snap, because I want to see, what the coverage they're in, what the man assignment was. And O'Donnell's, his man was out in the flat, right before the end zone. And you can tell that's who his man is. And I can't remember which safety it was or nickel corner who was getting the guy that was going the corner route in the end zone. And you see him take a couple steps to his assignment. And then I paused it and I could see the exact moment where he moves his head and is watching the quarterback, and Grant Wilson is telegraphing that pass and is looking over at that receiver. And before the pass even leaves the hand, you can see O'Donnell move towards that receiver. And then once the ball leaves the hand, he jumps it, makes the interception. But it's really cool if you just go back, watch it, and pause maybe a second after the snap is made. You can see the exact moment that O'Donnell Fortune knows exactly where that ball is going and that he is going to go get it. It was pretty cool to watch back.
Good stuff. Remind you, by the way, Shane Beamer speaking tomorrow at 1 for his weekly press conference, Gamecocks at Kentucky on Saturday. And Coach will, of course, have the call-in show coming up on Thursday night at 6. Let's get back into talking more Gamecocks. Go back to the offense, though. And Elijah's got some numbers on the performance of Lenora Sellers and where things can improve. But first, here's Shane Beamer. We got cut 6 here, yes? Shane Beamer on just Sellers and what he missed on Saturday.
I don't know. I think he, certainly there's some throws he'd like to have back. I think he'll be the first to tell you he missed some. We threw a post early in the second half that had the route underneath it. I think was probably, when he sees the tape, wishes he had gone there. And some of those, maybe a high throw, but could be the wide receiver or tight end not running his depth potentially at the right route. So a lot to clean up, no question about it. And we will. I mean, you guys, I've told you this, and would I have liked to have thrown the ball tonight more than 114 yards? Absolutely. But I also know that we're going to get better throwing the football. We had 3 receivers that played a lot of snaps tonight that weren't even here during spring practice, in Camp and Dre and Nick. So those are 3 receivers that didn't even get here until June. And, I'm not making an excuse. We need to be better. We've had 2 months with them, but we're going to continue to develop that chemistry with the receivers. Mike Smith played a lot tonight at tight end. He wasn't here during spring practice, and transfer receivers that have come in. So we're a work in progress, and we'll continue to get better throwing the ball, running the ball, playing defense, playing special teams for sure.
My buzzwords Friday: cohesion and confidence, cohesion and confidence, cohesion and confidence. And that's what you needed to begin to build. It sounds like they were, they were thinking the same thing. It's not that they're taking cues from me, I assure you.
Maybe they are.
And it's not really hard to say that you've got to do that, but it's obvious they're trying to build those things, and they're I don't want to say they're nowhere close, but you've got some numbers that tell us just how far they may have to go.
Yeah. When you think about quarterbacks under duress and pressure, naturally you should be better with a clean pocket, right? And I will say the offensive line improved in its pass protection, right? I mean, Lenore Sellers had almost 4 seconds each play on average to throw the ball. That's really good. Now, granted, there were some sacks given up that the offensive line didn't pick up a blitz, do some fundamental things, and that will happen from time to time. But all in all, the pass protection was better than it probably was at any point last season. So in theory, you should be able to take advantage of that, right? If I tell you that your offensive line and the pass protection is going to be improved from last year going into Saturday's game, you're probably thinking, they're throwing for 200 yards and they're putting up 35 points at the least. Here's the thing, though, and this is kind of just adds to why Lenore's struggles really hurt the offense, because on 80% of his dropbacks, according to Pro Football Focus, he was not blitzed. 80%.
Okay.
So that's a lot of snaps. That's 24 dropbacks, and he passed the ball 18 times on those dropbacks where he was not blitzed at all. He only completed 33% of them. 6 of 18. Now, granted, there were 2 drops, so his adjusted completion percentage, taking into account with those drops, is 50. However, 50% when you're not blitzed is it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it's unacceptable.
You're wanting
There's
to hit more
not
like,
gonna
what, 70%?
Yeah. Those should be the layups, right? And I think the key when evaluating Lenoris on Saturday was what makes it so frustrating is they missed a lot of layups. There was that pass to Brady Hunt out in the flat. That's got to be completed. That absolutely has to be completed whatsoever. No excuse for that one to be an incompletion. There were a few other, passes where it's either behind a receiver, but like that's when the pocket was clean. That was when he struggled, which was really, or I guess not when the pocket was clean. This is just on, defense blitzing, but either way, you can't go 6 of 18. Yeah. And you got to help the offense out a little bit more with your arm. And while you were able to get 18 first downs, 16 of those came by way of the run. Like that's how reliant the entire offense was on the run game. You can look at other stats too to see that, like 53 rushing attempts for the entire game. But 16 of the 18 first downs picked up on the ground. At some point this year, you're going to have to be able to use your arm on third downs, because if you get in a situation, say against Kentucky on Saturday, where it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, they're just going to bring the house and dare you to do it. And if you can't hit the layups, that's probably a more troublesome sign towards future performance than really anything else I think we saw on Saturday.
Speaking of future performance, cut number 8, here's Shane Beamer from after the ball game on what he knows they'll be most working on this week.
Yeah, and I don't want it, Rick, to come across that I'm making excuses for that because we played a lot of young guys. Yes, we did. It's a factor, but we're not the only school in the country playing true freshmen, and we've got to continue to help them and put them in position to make plays. And I told those freshmen, I told Mike Smith, a true freshman tight end, I told Mazio, true freshman receiver, told who else played as a true freshman tonight on Josiah Thompson, started at left tackle. I told those guys coming out of half, all right, you ain't a freshman anymore now. You've just played a half of SEC football, and we're past that excuse or whatnot. So they'll get better and learn from it. I'm proud of them for coming in there and handling their first college game like they did. But I think the biggest thing is just the let's not beat ourselves. And I thought we had too much of that tonight, whether it be drops, penalties, pre-snap penalties, not lining up the right way, things like that. That starts with us as coaches, and we'll do a better job of getting that cleaned up and coached up this week, hopefully.
You got to scheme for your opponent at some point in time, but how much time can you spend this weekend, or this week rather, before the weekend, on yourself? I think that'll be an interesting balance for the limited opportunity that these coaches get with their players to begin with. How much independent film study, if you will also be going on? How much independent work with the playbook will be going on beyond normal practice time? A lot of questions in terms of how quickly you can get better.
Yeah, and that's why this is kind of such a mess, right? And that's why there's so much frustration, because I think you can point to a lot of different things. Receivers not getting separation, maybe questioning the play calling, right? I think there's some very fair criticism there with how the game might have been called offensively in terms of doing certain plays or things that you think might be able to work with the personnel that you have, and also just missing the layups, right? Like, it's scheme has to get better. Doing the fundamental parts has to get better, because even though I did throw the stat out of 6 of 18 passing when not blitzed, I had to allude to the 2 drops, because one of them would have been for a lot of yards with Jared Brown. And like, there were some plays where it hits a receiver in the hands. You got to catch it, right? You have to be able to complete that play. Make the layups, and that at least will raise the floor of what your offense can be.
Drive around the SEC coming up, including a big win for the conference cellar dweller. Maybe not anymore. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Download the 107.5 The Game app and listen anywhere. The beach. The gym. And yes, even there. Go to iTunes or Google Play and snag the 107.5 The Game app.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah.
Crazy story. I'm at the Nissan end of summer sales event when Laura, the saleswoman, asks,
"Want to test drive the Rogue?"
I'm like, let's go. We're driving when Laura says,
"Want to see something cool? VC turbo engine."
I hit the gas and whoosh. I'm like, okay, wasn't expecting that. Laura goes,
"Check this out."
She shows me the miles per gallon, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive fuel economy.
These new Nissan Rogues are going fast.
I knew I had to have that Nissan Rogue. Crazy, right?
Wait till you hear how I got my Nissan Sentra. Get up to $2,500 total savings on remaining select early model 2024 Rogue Platinum trims. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. Total savings consists of $1,250 retail customer cash plus $1,250 bonus cash on select remaining 2024 Rogue inventory as available at your local dealership. Select Rogue bonus cash available on 40% of dealers' most aged inventory. Updated weekly. Available on purchase from new dealer stock. Contact your local dealer for current inventory information. Ends 9/3/24.
How would you like to drive a new car with no payments for 3 full months? That's exactly what you can do when your car loan is with State Credit Union. Visit one of their 19 branches or their website for details. Apply for your new car loan online at scscu.com. That's scscu.com. Offer not available for internal refinances. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Owners Gene and Debbie Royer of All American Heating and Air.
I think that's the biggest mistake ever of putting a technician on commission. My technician has no reason to overcharge. We don't do that.
You can trust All American.
When your heating and air breaks down, it's an emergency to you. It's an emergency to us also.
All American's technicians are NATE certified.
Let our family help your family. We're All American.
All American Heating and Air. AllAmericanHeatingandAir.com.
You have an IRS problem. Getting accurate legal advice could help get all this behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. To get the best results for our clients, we stay on top of the law and the IRS rules and regulations. It's important to us to get you back on track and in compliance legally without worry for your future. At the Ecton Law Firm, we've handled hundreds of cases for everyday hardworking people like you right here in the Carolinas. Don't face the IRS alone. Know your legal rights. Call me to set up your appointment. The first visit is completely free and confidential. You'll meet with a licensed attorney in person at our office in Irmo, just off I-26. If you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to EctonLawFirm.com. Carolinas, if you have an IRS issue, you need a local attorney. You need me, John Ecton.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line
at 803-404-6100. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to, they're causing some delays on the roadways this afternoon. And by that, I mean there are no active accidents causing active traffic jams. However, there is some still long-term road construction that might be causing some backup or maybe some slower travel. We still have that on I-20 between I-26 and exit 64 and exit 65. Still some long-term road construction on 26 between exit 108A and exit 125, and on I-126 between Hughie Street and I-26.
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network. It's time for our drive around the SEC.
As they say in the Bayou, laissez la bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
4th down. Pocket is there for Schlee. He'll buy some time. Heave it to the end zone at the back, and it's incomplete. And the ball game is over. Vanderbilt with the upset in week 1.
In overtime as well. Welcome back in. It is the drive around the SEC along with Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Good for you, Vandy. By the way, if I may, many of you have over the years seen the brilliant SEC Shorts crew. They do the funny videos every Sunday after a weekend of action. There's a rotating cast of about 5 or 6 actors that play all the different schools and some other roles. I'm not going to give any of it away. Just punch it up on YouTube, punch it up on Twitter, SEC Shorts, and I'll just say enjoy. I retweeted it on my Twitter feed. If you want to go there, you can find it. But brilliant work as per usual. I'll just say that Vandy has a role in what they did. That's why I bring it up.
They didn't miss.
They didn't. Southeastern Conference teams went 13-3 over the weekend, winning by an average score of 45.8 to 9.8. There were a bunch of shutouts. Now, granted, most of the teams they played weren't very good. Missouri wins 51-0. Arkansas wins 70-0. Oklahoma wins 51-3. Of course, Carolina just won by 4, but they won the football game. And again, right now, you don't qualify the wins. Just get out of there and try to get better. Georgia, of course, just thumping Clemson 34-3. And I mentioned this earlier. Saw that. One Clemson fan said, "I can take losing, but I can't take not showing up." You showed up. You showed up. It's just at halftime, Georgia figured it all out, and you had nothing.
I think that's the result you're going to get if these teams play more than once.
Look, I said to you earlier, and I can't. All I can do is say it as an opinion. If they played 10 times, I think Georgia wins 10 times, man. Now, they might not win by 31 points every time, but Georgia just showed that they're that much better than you. And remember, Georgia without their top 2 running backs and their top wide receiver. So that matters. I mean, if they had him.
Significantly, yeah.
If they had him, but the Frazier kid was great, man.
He was awesome, yeah.
And he pulled off. He had like 7.5 a carry or something.
Yeah, like 11 carries for 90-something yards?
11 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah. Yeah. Carson
that offensive line they're movers of men.
Well, Georgia and Ohio State are better than everybody else. By how much? I don't know. Will they play each other for the title? Probably not. But
because playoff.
Yeah, because it's hard to keep winning when you play other good teams. And again, we saw it with Georgia last year. But they're better than everybody else. Talent-wise, coaching-wise, everything else, resource-wise. Again, Oregon's close. Texas is close. Alabama's fine. I got no problems or concerns really with Alabama other than, they get to host Georgia.
Congratulations.
That's going to be a fun
Can
we just go ahead and play that? Let's just play
skip
now.
A lot of the other
let's
games.
just play now. I'd rather just do that. Texas won big, 52-0 over Colorado State. Alabama 63-0 over Western Kentucky. Ole Miss blanked Furman. Sorry, Paladin fans. 76-0. Notre Dame and A&M. That was a good game. Notre Dame pulled away late and won that one 23-13 in College Station. I enjoyed that game, and not because A&M lost. I don't mean it that way. I think Notre Dame made a little statement. Maybe not a big one because I don't think A&M is very good. I don't think they're terrible either. A&M's not ready to win the SEC or the national title yet.
No, Wegman looked bad, and I don't know how much of it was Connor Wegman looking bad or Notre Dame's defense being that good. I'm actually kind of leaning towards Notre Dame's defense being that good.
I think so.
They're really good, man. They have some issues on the offensive line, but that defense will do some heavy lifting during the season.
Nico Iamaleava, he tried to say, with over 300 yards and a big win for Tennessee, 69-3. Again, Vandy edging Virginia Tech 34-27 in overtime. Vandy had a chance to win at the buzzer. Field goal, 40-something yards, sailed just wide right. Plenty of leg, just sometimes you miss. But for Vandy to hold on in OT, man, that was a big deal. I was happy for them.
Massive deal.
State beats Eastern Kentucky 56-7. Auburn over Alabama A&M 73-3. Kentucky, in about a 40-minute game because of weather, beat Southern Miss 31-0. So it's likely that Kentucky would have tacked on a few more. And then a couple of ones we want to talk about. Southern California last night over LSU 27-20. Both teams, I thought, considering their defensive struggles last season, played very good defense. Look, you had some first game mistakes for both schools. LSU, Kelly was mad. You might have seen him slamming the table and saying, we're making these dumb mistakes, and the guys on the sideline think they've already lost the game, and that's on me. And it didn't sound like it was really on him. It sounded like he was really blaming those guys. I know what coaches have to do sometimes. Meanwhile, Lincoln Riley, it's just all California cool over there. But they've got a defense now, or so it would seem. Again, they've got to go through a pretty good schedule as well, do the Trojans. But for as much of a statement as you can make about yourself in week one, I thought that was a good one for Southern Cal.
Oh, God. Miller Moss specifically.
378 yards.
That's a guy who lived in almost total anonymity on that roster last year because it was kind of assumed that Malachi Nelson, who highly touted recruit, was going to be the successor to Caleb Williams. And then he throws 6 touchdowns in the Holiday Bowl and, changes some minds a little bit, and then gets the starting lineup. Malachi Nelson leaves town and he picks up right where he left off. That game-winning touchdown pass was a dot. Right in the bucket. That was an incredible pass. I thought
it was a fun game.
I thought he played so much better than Nussmeier. And I thought Nussmeier played all right. I don't think they really tried to stretch the field or anything. And I think for the first half, I think his average depth of target was like a smidge over 4 yards. It wasn't a lot, but Miller Moss played exceptional. And if that's the Miller Moss they get, and their weapons make the plays that they did, that one catch that was made in the first half might be the best catch in college football all year long. If that's the offense that Southern Cal has, then they can compete in the Big Ten for a title. I didn't foresee them having that ability just a few weeks ago.
Meanwhile, bad news in Gainesville. Cut 37 here, please. The Gators humbled at home by the Hurricanes 41-17. Billy Napier in postgame.
And I don't have a ton of excuses. I think we struggled to produce any running game outside of one explosive. Obviously didn't create a ton of explosives. And then obviously we had a couple key penalties. And then defensively, outside of third down, didn't do much. I do think there were a few bright spots in the kicking game, but overall, Miami outplayed us, they outcoached us, and give them the credit. I do think there are things that we can do better. There's no question there were mistakes made. I do think that we had a couple players that were banged up that you'll have questions about. But
listen, 41-17, in my opinion, doesn't really do it justice. I think Miami, you and I were talking earlier, Cam Ward kind of had to navigate through the first half just a little bit, but by the second half was fine. Miami came out at halftime, scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter to open up a big lead. Florida made it, I think, 38-17, and then a late field goal for Miami to make it the final margin, but it wasn't as close as 41-17.
No. The wild thing, too, when going back to watch that, is Cam Ward's stat line was really good, and I thought he played well. He did miss a lot of throws where Miami's receivers were able to bail him out and make really good plays and be able to extend them and move the chains, score touchdowns and all of that. And that is a result because they were just so open.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cam Ward's margin for error was pretty great, and they were able to run all over him. Florida just looked really, really soft.
Come back with some more thoughts on the SEC weekend and some final thoughts today, at least, on Carolina's win over Old Dominion. It's the Postgame Show.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
It's back.
The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com and register. The pot starts at $100. Every week it increases $100 if Carolina doesn't score a special teams touchdown. But if the Gamecocks do score a special teams touchdown, you could win the pool. Again, just go to 1075thegame.com and register. It's the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest from 1075 The Game.
This is Carrington Harrison with the Sports Minute. Dare I say it, Happy learned how to putt. Does USC have a defense? There were two separate times in the game against LSU that they were down 17-13, and I thought LSU was going to go score a touchdown and win the game. But USC gets off the field two times. They score a touchdown on their final two possessions, and they win the game. Has USC learned how to play defense? I'm Carrington Harrison.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
O'Reilly. Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select, Select Pro, or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore quality braking and improve stopping performance with parts and advice from the professional parts people. Save money now when you visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Car wreck? Dial all sevens now. We got a $250,000 settlement for a client injured in a car accident when driver illegally turned in front of him.
Dial all sevens now.
The Nestapool Law Firm is not scared to go to court. We got a $2.5 million jury verdict for our client when the other driver failed to yield.
What do? Good heavens. Dial all seven.
To get your attorney, dial 800 all sevens now.
Let's see, landscapers I can afford. All right, searching affordable landscapers near me. Here we go.
Right here, sir. How can we help?
It's the same ones I saw last time.
Sir, we're right here and reasonably priced. Why is he not seeing us?
It looks like the ugly yard stays.
Sir, can you not see us?
Nope, he can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local landscapers. You're invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost. Get found. Get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
And Doug. Customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. After that, you can also save me, as I'm currently hanging from the edge of a cliff. To recap, number 1, customize and save. Number 2, time allowing, save me.
Shoulders separating.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Diesel owners know if you take care of your engine, it'll return the favor. Hot Shot secret formulates additives that help you prevent problems and boost performance. Diesel Extreme cleans internal and external injector deposits, and EDT increases fuel economy by up to 7.3%. Scientifically proven by third-party testing. Add Hot Shot Secret at your next fill-up to get the most out of your diesel. Available on Amazon and HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. CarolinaHonda.com. From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network.
Minutes in front of 6 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Happy Labor Day and welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Putting a fine point on the drive around the SEC. Again, only one other conference game this weekend, and that is, or just one conference game this weekend. That, of course, is Carolina at Kentucky. Not, I guess Tennessee's game is pretty good, Elijah, this weekend.
Yeah, against NC State.
They've got NC State. NC State,
They're better than what they show.
I imagine that fan base feels somewhat like Carolina's does, but there's more on NC State's shoulders, perhaps, than the Gamecocks. Let's see. We've got, well, you know what? Let me take that back. Arkansas at Oklahoma State could be interesting. I think Texas is going to go to Michigan and romp, but maybe not. But I think they will.
Michigan didn't impress.
They did not look that good. But Fresno State is good. What was that final?
30-10.
Yeah, I was saying, that's not terrible.
But I need to go back and watch. I saw some of the box score, and I've heard some of other people's assessments about Michigan. And if Alex Orji, the guy who's supposed to come in and be the quarterback for Michigan, isn't even taking a majority of the pass snaps, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like that was supposed to be the guy that is your starting quarterback, your number one go-to. You can't gadget two quarterbacks and win the Big Ten. You just can't. You're Michigan. You should be above that.
By the way, while we've been on the air, and the reason I say this is because I looked before the show at the same website, ESPN Bet, is what I'm using this year. When we started the show, Kentucky was a 9.5-point favorite. While we've been on the air, it's risen to 10.
Ooh.
So people just betting like for fun on Labor Day. So
a lot of action.
Once the pros start betting on Thursday, where does this line close?
Ooh, I'll say 11.5.
I was going to say around 12 or 13.
Well, usually, from my understanding of it, is that most of the sharps, the ones who make a lot of good money doing this, bet very early. So almost every single line adjustment that you see is made because that sharp money's coming in.
Okay.
And they're having to adjust. Well, if we see it ever move dramatically, it's because certain sports books do flag certain consumers of their product, if you will, and pay very close attention as to what they are doing.
Will your Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders cover the 41 against Ole Miss?
Well, they're a great team. It's what great teams do.
All right.
They had a funky game against Tennessee Tech. We're up 24-2 and had a long delay and about blew it. But you know what? Anything's possible.
Tennessee Tech has Georgia at this point no line on that game.
It'll probably be like 69.5.
I've noticed more lines on FCS versus FBS games. I used to not put lines on those games. But I guess.
Really?
I used to do a lot of, like, you'd get a line, maybe it would be like in an offshore book. I don't think there was like a law or anything. I just.
What was the purpose?
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, why are you betting on that game anyway? Right? So. South Florida at Bama. I know I'm like the holdout. People are like, South Florida almost beat Alabama last year. I was like, no, they didn't. I saw the score. I watched the game in the rain in Tampa. And again, that was the day that Nick Saban made Alabama strip everything down to the bare bones and start over. And they still won the game. And he made it. He's like, everything we did all summer, we're no longer doing. We have 1 week to become a brand new team. And you're going to do it in a real game. Got it, Skip. And they won the game. So this year, I think it won't be as close. That's my opinion. Won't be.
Yeah, I think that one, especially on the day that he is getting the field named after him.
We will do more of this tomorrow. And again, Coach Beamer speaks at 1 o'clock. Look, again, Carolina fans, be concerned. There's zero, there's nothing wrong with being concerned. But Carolina did win the football game. And that, as I said at the top of the show, and I'll close with the same thing, that does matter. It does. Our good friend John that calls often here with us, said, I know there's no such thing as a bad win, but this program keeps trying to give us one. And I know what he means. But at this point in time, they won the football game, and they have a lot of correctable mistakes. I don't know yet, because this is why I say, Elijah, ask me again around Halloween. I just don't know. I don't know how good some of these guys are. Some of the newcomers, be they freshmen or transfers. I don't know. Some of the guys that didn't get to play as much as they did last season. I don't know. But we learned a lot more this Saturday about this team.
Especially now that you have a weakest sample size and you have a baseline.
Yeah.
Right? And it's pretty clear there are a lot of issues to work on the offensive side. Seeing how many of those, you're not going to completely fix all of them, but improved upon is going to be a really good judge as to the trajectory of improvement throughout the course of the season.
Right. So we'll see. Shane, live tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Elijah and I will have a full recap. It'll be Brews Day, so Ryan will be here with us in the 3 o'clock hour. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. Appreciate you being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Been bothered lately by back, neck, shoulder, joint pain, and you want to just get back to, feeling good again? Well, let me recommend my friends Janet and Bob Keene and their team at The Joint. No appointment is ever necessary. No worries about insurance. If you've never been to a chiropractor before and you just say, all right, let me see what's up, your initial visit with a consultation, an exam, and an adjustment is just $29. And once again, no appointment is ever necessary. You can be in and out quickly. You don't have to miss your lunch, anything at work. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays, 10 to 4. 4 convenient locations across the Midlands. They're on Harbison Boulevard, Forest Drive, Roberts Branch right off Killian Road, and Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. They're convenient, affordable. They can help you maintain a healthy body and prevent reoccurring issues. And let me tell you this, too. At The Joint, you don't have to feel bad to feel better. Tell them we sent you and feel better at The Joint.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. The South Carolina Education Lottery encourages all their players to learn about your play before you pay. To learn how the odds work, common lottery myths, and signs of problem gambling, check out seeducationlottery.com/betteryou. Playing the lottery for fun is a win for education.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of